The mundane world you know is a lie, fraying at the edges. Follow the echoes of Metropolis, chase the truth to its source, and ascend. You are entering White Walls, chronicled about Mage the Ascension and Kult Divinity Lost. Due to adult language and the violent nature and intense horror themes of our tales of terror and damnation, we encourage listener discretion. Welcome to Vorpal Tales, where we play terrifying tales and awesome adventures every day of the week. If it's the dark and scary that calls to you, we have Kimchi's Grimdark Chronicles on Thursdays and Deviant the Renegades on Saturdays. If it's a bit of sci-fi intrigue that you fancy, we have Cyberpunk Red on Mondays and Tales from the Loop on Wednesdays. If it's fantasy you crave, we have Scarredlands on Fridays. Be sure to check out our website, vorpaltales.com, to see our complete calendar, see recaps of past episodes, and get the links to our past archives of shows on YouTube. While you're on Twitch or YouTube, make sure you click follow, or on YouTube, subscribe and hit the bell. And starting later this month, make sure you check out our podcast links. If that's where you're listening to us now, you should follow us there also.
That's right.
You will also find links to all of our social media here and our Patreon. And remember, all new and current Twitch followers will be entered into a drawing for a free PDF of any one of our past games once we hit 300 followers on Twitch. Special thanks to Onyx Path Publishing and White Wolf for gifting us the World of Darkness and all the support they offer, and to Helmgast and Modifius for gifting us the newest version of Kult Divinity Lost. Thank you to Astral Tabletop for the awesome virtual space we use to play all our games. To Nate Mid from right here at Vorpal Tales for our custom Astral Tabletop character sheets that you all can use too to play Mage, 20th Anniversary Edition on Astral. Thanks to Dark Somnium Music, Darren Curtis Music, and Savic Music for providing some of the sounds you're hearing in this chronicle, as well as Helmgast for letting us use the Divinity Original Sin soundtrack. Links to all of this awesomeness will appear in chat momentarily or in the video description on YouTube. Awaken Seekers of Enlightenment. Tell us who you are, the name of your character, your tradition, and your primary sphere.
Yeah. Steve.
Hey everybody, I'm Ever, and my pronouns are they, them. You can find me all over the internet as Changeling Ever, and tonight I shall be playing Gabriel Hargrave, scatterbrained, which things would you like us to announce again?
Your tradition and your primary sphere.
Ha ha ha, yes. The Cult of Ecstasy, and my primary sphere is time. Allons-y.
If you don't mind, Tyler, I need to go one more time because OBS disconnected my microphone.
Go ahead.
All right, so I apologize, everybody. I hope you can hear me now. Thank you, Don Arnetto, for letting me know. So once again, my name is Steve. You can find me on the internet at Voodoo Arcade. Tonight I am playing Drake Jones, the Akashayana trainee person. My nature is activist, demeanor bravo, essence primordial, and my primary sphere is life.
Hi, I'm Eric at Marone Recluse on Twitter, and tonight I will be playing Jose Vega, the Catholic priest and member of the Celestial Chorus, as far as his tradition. His nature is martyr, his demeanor is caretaker, and his primary sphere is prime. Help me out, what's the essence again, Tyler?
You picked dynamic. No, you didn't. We'll get to yours in a minute.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Rachel. You can find me pretty much everywhere at Stolen Fires. I'm playing a character inspired by that concept. She's a rebel against, everything we presume is holy and godlike. Her nature is innovator. Her demeanor is rebel. She is a hollow one, with a dynamic essence, and her primary sphere is mind.
Excellent. And Jared will return to us next week, whereas Harry has bowed out for a few weeks, but will be rejoining the Chronicle later when he's done being crushed by college. some semesters are worse than others.
Yeah.
Okay. So, starting with you, Eric, you wanted to start high and possibly descend low because you either had to begin with the Witherslate Essence or fight devolving to the Wither Sleante Essence. So, pattern is what you chose.
Pattern. Oh, that's right. Okay.
Possibly
yeah,
sliding,
it's right on my
possibly sliding to Primordial at a later date.
sheet. Gotcha. Thank you, sir.
Okay, now let us return to Elysium and continue telling the story of White Walls as we enter Book 1, Nehemoth, Chapter 1. First, though, we hit a wall of time last week, so we still got to talk about magic. We did a real fast 30-minute dip into magic. But then, let's kind of glossed over it, especially for some of our players that are constantly asking, how do? So we're going to do more than gloss over it and actually talk about it for a hot second. So the first thing we're going to start with is focus. Focus is the combination of your belief system, your practice, and the tools you use to do your practice. So we're going to start with paradigm. So, your belief forms the core of your focus. It's referred to as your paradigm, but they're not quite the same. They're close. Belief reflects the way you as a mage think about the world and your place in it. And paradigms tend to reflect the intellectual framework for understanding it. So belief is like a personal faith or a creed, and your paradigm is how you frame that in your mind to make sense of the world. You can't have one without the other. So paradigm represents how you think things work, and belief represents why you think it works that way. So, let's talk about your paradigms. In the normal order, we'll start with Steven.
Okay. Paradigms. That we talked about, but it's not on my sheet. We talked about a lot of stuff, so I'm actually going through right now trying to remember it.
Your paradigm is everything is chaos. You only think it makes sense.
Everything. Yes. Everything is chaos. So, you want me to go into that about how that affects my character, or are we just kind of saying what it is?
I'm going to read what the book says it is, and then, you can discuss in quick fashion how you translate that to how your character sees the world through that filter.
Okay.
But in the book, everything is chaos is core of existential philosophy. It insists that creation is indifferent and possibly meaningless until and unless you choose to impose meaning on your small part of it. Magic comes from wrangling whatever cosmic mysteries or principles you believe in and realizing that your belief is the thing that gives them power. Ultimately, the magic comes from within. The universe is an etch-a-sketch, and the mage learns how to twiddle the knobs. Taken to the extreme, this view maintains that nothing means anything, and that perhaps everything exists only in your head. Who's to say that's wrong? After all, the universe might simply be a game played out in some mad god's mind. Would I do that to you?
Probably. I don't see why not. Then we have to, crawl out of its eye and punch it.
Only Sean would punch it.
Yeah.
So tell us how your character interprets the world through that lens.
So, Drake interprets the world through that lens through the Akashayana, framework, but his background, remember, comes from this time that he spent with kind of like a rogue master, one who was training more towards warfare as opposed to the more sort of, bodily focus and mind focus to enlightenment sort of concept. So to him, pure strength, power, right? That is where you come from. And if you can be stronger than chaos itself and rip order from it and just snatch what you need from the chaos around you, that's how that kind of manifests itself. Everything is chaos, unless you're the one in control.
Correct. I believe Ever is next, because Jared would have been last anyway, so we're good. Yes. Ever's paradigm
Is magic. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. I'm a pain. I know. A world of gods and monsters. Would you like me to read off? I have the whole paragraph if you want me to.
Yeah, you don't have to read both paragraphs, just the first one will work.
Oh god, I blended them together.
Oh, just read it then. That's cool.
Okay.
Just trying to save you a little time, but I'm good reading the whole thing.
In this view, creation is fundamentally irrational, dangerous, and filled with powerful forces, most of which are hostile. Nothing makes sense for very long, and apparent safety can give way at any moment and plunge us into chaos. Magic, science, and faith are tools we use, like fire and steel, to keep the threats at bay. Those tools give us a leg up on our ancestors, but in the end, we're all utterly fucked. Under this view, magic is a cosmic weapon, and using it makes you a monster too. Those gods and monsters hold the keys to magic, and if they like you, or if you kick their ass, they might share those powers with you, so long as your sanity holds out. The dark side of existential philosophy, this model insists that everything is meaningless. Paradoxically, it's both a very primitive viewpoint and a completely modern one. In the world of darkness, it's literally true. There really are vampires and evil spirits all over the place. Human beings are prey for beings that are essentially gods, and mages frequently become those godly monsters themselves. Although it often comes across as the mordant creed of hollow ones and other orphans, this model finds its way into the supposedly refined beliefs of many tradition, technocracy, and disparate mages, and of course into the delusions of marauders and the malicious truths of the Nefandi, for whom its reality becomes one of their greatest philosophical weapons. After all, when the werewolf's at your door, the world seems pretty fucking irrational and very obviously monstrous.
How does your character view the world through this lens?
Personally, or like
your PC, yeah.
Oh, I have to think about that for a second. Well, basically, if everyone's a monster and everything's meaningless, well, monsters are fighting monsters. It's like when humans fight humans, it's really no different. So, take advantage of it, use it, and hope that your abilities come from a good power and not a bad one.
Okay.
Blind faith.
Yeah.
Eric.
Appropriate. Well, I think it's the belief system for Jose Vega is pretty obvious. He comes from that place. Everything about him is rooted in his faith, which is both his strongest thing and his weakest point. Because he's somebody of faith, everything that he does is in pursuit of that higher ideal, of that higher power. He believes it's kind of like a gift that was given, but in some ways it was corrupted or stolen. So he's kind of like the fireman battling fires with more fire. I guess that's a bad way to put it, but he's faithful to that creed of faith. He maintains contact through prayers and acts as often as possible as a sort of an emissary to his creator. He wants to keep the faith. He believes that by doing so, he grows stronger with that gift that he's been given, because he believes that it wasn't something that was given to just anybody. He doesn't believe in this sort of randomness or this chaos theory or what have you. He believes that there is some sense in order, or there is some purpose to it all, which I think the fact that he has his highest sphere is prime is testament to that he wants to instill that order he so believes in, even though it's probably completely wrong. I don't know if that's a good answer or not.
Eric's actual paradigm is divine order and earthly chaos, which helped him understand why you believe that. According to the most prevalent belief system on the planet these days, material world is an imperfect reflection or creation of sublime celestial order. This paradigm covers the world's three dominant religious creeds, as well as many strains of Confucianism, Hinduism, and other philosophies. Some believers see a cosmic adversary opposing the divine order's god or gods, and others consider our miserable slab of mortal muck to be a corruption of godly will or abstract platonic ideals. Magic in this perspective comes from the observance of and obedience to heavenly perfection, or else from the forces of adversity that oppose the will of heaven. Some believers who may view the gods as archetypes that represent that order view this heavenly plan as the interplay of impersonal cosmic forces that are perfect in their own right. However, most see Earth and its surrounding realms as a titanic chessboard, with mages playing the role of valuable, but ultimately expendable pieces of the game. Last but not least, Rachel.
Hello, Sophie's paradigm is everything is an illusion, prison, or mistake.
Yes. A dour yet prevalent view among mages is that creation as we know it is a big fucking lie. It was created as a prison, a joke, or a project by malignant entities. It's a cosmic accident that only seems significant, or it's an illusion obscuring a deeper cosmic truth that is essentially benevolent or, at worst, indifferent. In this perspective, magic comes from transcending the illusion and learning how to work the strings that bind up everyone else. Knowledge and understanding provide the ultimate ascension from this painful shadow of cosmic truth. The flip side, of course, involves making pacts with the powers behind the throne. Many Nefandi view their path this way. The entire world is a grotesque joke, goes their reasoning, so you might as well enjoy some perks along the way. Tell us about your lens of this.
So Sophie believes that we're born weak, which is obvious, like babies can't do anything except just cry. But we all have an inherent spark of divinity within us, which is cool, only the gods are jealous of that and put all of these roadblocks in our way to prevent us from ever realizing that. And so true power comes from overcoming the limits that you have imposed on yourself and that other people have imposed on you that are actually just fake.
Nice.
She probably relates to her avatar, like, in a very Gnostic way. Like, I don't want to say Christ spirit, because she's not down with that outlook, but kind of.
Alright. Last but not least, Jared, who will watch this later. His paradigm is creation is innately divine and alive. The world, perhaps even the universe, is a living entity. That entity is either part of divinity or is divinity. Gods and monsters exist, as do pain, horror, and death. It's cool, though, because in the end, good things come from all the suffering. Death sustains life, life gives way to death, and the whole thing is a cycle that perpetrates itself in an ultimately beneficial way. Magic flows from an understanding of that cycle, and your place in it as an agent of change. Everything perhaps has the potential of magic, but most beings never realize it. This model stresses pragmatic acceptance mixed with wild joy. Certain takes on Kabbalism gravitate in this direction too, with creation as the infinite embodiment of ineffable God. So, from Jared's point of view, he sees spirits all the time, when he's awake, when he's asleep. Doesn't matter where he goes. He either sees them in our realm or he's slipping into their realms. So to him, of course, everything has a spirit and everything is alive and should be treated as such. And even dead things are still just spirits that need to re-enter the cycle. Very primordial, wild way of looking at the world. Next comes practice. Practice. Were you gonna say something, Steve?
No, I thought it was my turn. Go ahead.
Oh. Practice is the shape of your focus. When you make things happen, you employ a practice that serves your needs and your beliefs. When you're talking about how your spells are going to work, you should worry first about how it goes through your practice before we worry about how the dice work. So when you make things happen, you might petition your gods, or you might don your business suit, apply subtle cosmetics, and go off to work your will at the shareholders meeting. You might paint woad on your face and do a twilight dance around a fire to raise the spiritual energy necessary to bless the fight you're about to get. Or you might just have an adamantium punch, and you focus your chi through your hand into that guy's nuts. Practice.
Who could that be?
An appropriate practice can also spell the difference between subtle magic and wildly potent magic, wildly difficult magic. So, back to Steve again. Yes. What is your practice, sir?
My practice is... Make sure I have it right, because I wrote it down. My practice is, in fact, martial arts. So it's all of the different techniques and styles, the practicing of do, the things of that nature. So, different, just all those different things. The actual fighting itself, but also the training and preparation that goes into those things.
Yes, for Akashic, Do is their martial art, which means the way. It's not just stretching and going through katas and repetitive measures to learn how to fight. It's a way of life. It affects every aspect of Steve's character's life. He lives Do all the time.
All day, every day.
Advanced martial arts attune a practitioner into the quintessential life force, allow you to channel that life force through refined motions and grant you unique powers. Ever.
Yeah. Mine is invigoration. Would you like me to read off again?
Yep.
Sweet. The human mind and body, and perhaps spirit as well if you believe in that sort of thing, which most but not all mages do, are capable of feats far beyond what we believe we can do. Though vigorous training, however, perhaps helped along by an accident, procedure, or a chemical that somehow manages to not kill us in the process, we can unlock that capability, essentially becoming superhuman when we do so. Ancient techniques supposedly allow us to do such things by accessing our forgotten potential. The Akashic art of Do claims to be one such method, and obscure forms of yoga, tantra, Taoism, and related disciplines make the same assertion. It is science, though, that provides the most commonly imagined forms of invigoration, a metaphysical practice that unlocks the vast capability of the human being. The Etherite hero, Doc Eon, is the reigning poster boy for this approach, which he supplements with weird science, martial arts, and other disciplines. By pursuing such rigorous discipline, however, you too can be all that you can be. Mages who pursue this practice endure intense regimens of physical and mental exercises that drive them beyond average human capacity, often supplementing such disciplines with strange diets, herbal concoctions, surgical modifications, gene therapy, alien technology, baths in odd chemicals or cosmic rays, and other things that test Nietzsche's dictum about barriers to ultimate capability. Invigoration means to fill with life and energy, and so practitioners of this approach channel astounding energies into legendary lives. On a metaphysical level, many practitioners, not all of them of course, view these disciplines as a way to break through the illusions of physical limitation. All existence, it has been argued, is energy, and so a mastery of that energy, combined with adept manipulation of physicality's illusions, allows a skillful person to do apparently impossible things. All things, of course, are possible if you understand how to break down the walls of imposed self-delusion. And because certain quantum physics theories concur with ancient mystic observations about reality's illusions and the capability of consciously guided energy, invigoration can be considered a technological practice as well as a mystical one. If supposed magic is explainable as mutation, enhanced capability, and other forms of perfectly explainable, if unusual, human perfectionism, then there's no reason a technomancer or technocrat can't employ such disciplines too. In fact, many of them do just that. As a practice, invigoration is rarely considered to be magic. Nevertheless, it allows a practitioner to accomplish miraculous feats. Strength, endurance, healing, telepathy, mastery of other living things, adaptation to environments and situations that could kill a lesser human. Whether or not such things are magical depends on who you ask. Aleister Crowley, who regularly performed superhuman feats in his youth, and who managed to survive copious amounts of drugs and other forms of abuse well into his old age, would assert that such a discipline is indeed magic. Batman, of course, would consider that idea to be nonsense. But seriously, wouldn't magic explain volumes about the Dark Knight's capabilities? Grant Morrison seems to think so, and on that note, this practice could be considered a source of power for King Mob, Boy, and most obviously, Flex Mentallo, man of muscle mystery. Clearly, this practice best facilitates workings of life, mind, prime, and spirit. That said, an advanced invigorationist may command... Well, it was due to happen sometime. May command energies, both physical, forces, matter, and otherwise entropy time, on its own. It's not well suited for correspondence. Okay, someone replaced my mouth. Give it back. It's not well suited for correspondence-based arts beyond the first rank. It's pretty hard to argue that intense exercise can help you teleport or fold space, although the all matter is really energy argument might work for someone who's achieved a truly exalted state of invigorated understanding. I still have another paragraph of this taken down. Would you like me to tape
No,
off?
you're good.
Okay.
From there, it devolves into semantics the audience doesn't need to worry about.
Valid.
So Eric, you're seasoned. Eric practices faith. Through faith, all things are possible. I mean, you can wax poetic if you'd like, Eric, but I mean, that's basically all there is to it.
I was just gonna say there's a lot of text in this book. I don't know if you want me to go through it or not.
No, not necessary. You can talk about how it relates to your character if you want, but yours is probably the simplest and most obvious.
Straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah, he basically will just manifest it through prayer, blessings, invocations of his name, scripture, things like that.
Yep, and of course, Catholic rituals. Oh, so many Catholic rituals.
Yes.
And Rachel.
Hey, psionics.
Yeah, here we go. You don't have to read the whole thing, but read enough of it for people to get the gist, if you have it.
I do not have it open. I am the note taker, so I've got Notepad open.
I can get it. Psionics. I'm in that book because Jared's in that book. Psionics. Also, I can kill you with my brain. Tam. It really is all in our heads, you know. Every element of reality as we understand it comes through the psyche, that sense of self, composed of consciousness, through which we process and influence our existence. And so it stands to reason, which again suggests that it's true because we think it should be true, that the psyche is the ultimate wellspring of reality. At least as far as we humans understand what real is. By extension, then, the ultimate form of magic should be that which flows from and is focused through the practice of psychic disciplines, psionics. After that, it becomes very esoteric, and it all depends entirely on how Rachel's character views psionics. Anything from ancient Buddhist practices all the way up to she just scanners that shit till your face explodes.
So when she is reading people, I'm stealing shamelessly from Isaac Asimov's Foundation, in which psychology was so advanced that people could just communicate through eye twitches and body language. And then when she's using psionics on other people, it's essentially natural language programming, which believes that words have more meaning than they do. And you can use you can say something structured in such a way that it plants ideas in people's heads. Pickup artists use this, and they're looking for the cheat code.
Yeah.
She's a little more ethical than that, but she also believes all the rules that are holding you back are just in your head. So if you can break rules, like even just really simple ones, like you're not supposed to jaywalk. Well, why? There's no cars coming. There's a certain level of power in that.
I had an awesome reference and I lost it. That's okay though. Jared's practice is animalism. There's something magical about animals. The glow of eyes in the dark, the uncanny grace of a cat or stag, the rough power of bears and elephants, flight, fangs, venom, speed. Despite our many gifts, animals possess abilities that naked humans can't hope to match without technology, magic, both. And so, from our earliest origins, human mystics and inventors cultivated arts that allow us to access such birthrights and use them as our own. Animalism is actually a philosophical paradigm that says human beings are just highly advanced animals, and a catch-all term for a variety of related practices, including requesting aid from animal spirits, invoking the beast self, invoking the essence of an animal, taking the essence of an animal, radical physical mutation or enhancements, or any strange combination of the above. So it can be a very rough, dark, violent practice, but it can also be a very gentle, enlightening practice. It all depends on how Jared's character manifests it. As a person whose family births werewolves, it's a very clear choice. Next is tools. Tools, we don't need to read any of the fluff of. We'll just talk about what your tools are. And then each of you is going to pick one custom tool that you have for your primary sphere.
Oh.
This will be a unique tool specific to you, which will allow you to use that checkbox when you cast spells from your primary sphere as long as you have said tool. Now, tools are, for the audience who may not know, tools in Mage are the ways that you actually... So belief envisions, practice inspires, tools perform. So without a tool, you can't prepare an act of magic. The actual root word of tool, which you could say is instrument, is instrere, which means to prepare. So literally, you use them to cast the magic. Without them, you can't cast the magic, or at least it's a lot fucking harder. Now, I had each of you pick 3 sets of tools. These are your most commonly used tools, but you can add any others you want into your tool set. When you first use them, it will simply slightly increase the difficulty of the magic you're doing. After you use them enough over and over and over again, they become part of your set, and now you can just use them. So 3 is your base number. You can expand this as much as you want if you want to add something cool you come across in a book or a movie or whatever.
Okay.
So starting with Steve, what are your 3?
My 3 are bodywork, meditation, and weapons.
Yes. So, bodywork we can touch on real fast. It basically means yoga, also stretching, working out, the actual forms that he practices over and over too, so kick you in the nuts.
The term is getting cut and ripped, getting swole.
That too. Such a good akashonic. Now,
tasty abs washerboard style.
We should touch on here that obviously you might hear those 3 things and go, sure, the bodywork makes sense. If I kick you in the nuts, that's instant. But how does meditation help Steve do a spell instant? It doesn't. Some of your tools will require time to prepare your rituals. Some will allow you to do them quickly. However, at least at the earlier stages of the game, instant magic is never great magic. When you have to do something real fast and you're not prepared for it, you're at your weakest as mage. Mages are better prepared, just like D&D. Knowing what's going to happen or preparing for eventualities ahead of time is how you survive. On the fly is always harder. Also remember, never pick your tools based on convenience. They're not convenient. They're just how you view the world, which is very hard to change. So there's 3 kinds of instruments. Standard, which means they just work, no bonus, but also no penalty. Personalized, which means your lucky baseball, your Rowan wand, your hand-built guitar, and so forth. They resonate with you. And they allow you to get a slight bonus when casting spells when using that tool. So it allows you to reduce by 1 the difficulty of a roll that employs your affinity sphere, your primary sphere. And then, of course, there are unique tools. Unique tools mean there's only one of them ever. So, like, or, you know, very few of them, I guess, could apply to. So, like, your Lucky Baseball could be your personalized tool, but a Lucky Baseball signed by Babe Ruth is a unique tool. That's the difference. So, like, Eric might have a Bible that he uses as his personalized tool, but if that Bible has one particular page of the Dead Sea Scroll, now it's unique. Very hard to come by, but when you get them, they give you an additional -1. It would stack with your personal, giving you a -2. You're not going to have any of those to start, but you should always be on the lookout for artifacts like that. That's good shit. Personalized instruments. Steve, Life Magic. Something that applies to your practice and your paradigm. I'll give you an example that doesn't apply to you at all, but a progenitor gene engineer might connect to life through a mutagenic cocktail of chemicals that he must always carry, mix, and use when casting the spell to get the bonus. Whereas a Bataz Hungen unites him with that same spear through a gift of whiskey, 3 cigars, and a virgin rooster from the Baron.
Sure.
So, what's yours?
Did we do this?
Nope. Doing this live.
Oh my gosh.
It's always funner to make these up live.
Fuck. What is mine? This is a personalized. Okay.
Think less object. This is for all of you, and more relates to you. It could be an object, but it doesn't need to be, and you shouldn't focus on it being an object. So it's not your lucky glove as much, Steve, as it might be how you use the glove. This is my lucky glove that is my lucky glove because it helped me win that one tournament when I only do the Johnny Cage maneuvers. When you do the Johnny Cage maneuver, it's your personalized tool.
Okay.
And while you think for a second, to give the rest of you some ideas, so like for Eric, it could be a specific cross used only for exorcisms that he has to utilize as if he was exorcising. But not just a cross. And forever, it could be, and for Eric, and for Jared, wow, it could be a specific wolf's pelt that he wears. It's been handed down through his family for 500 years, etc. For Ever's character, it could be,
Yeah, okay.
You got an idea?
No, can we come back to me?
Yep, we'll move to Ever.
Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome. Love you.
I got your number.
So your primary sphere is time, so it should be related to time, which most people use timepieces. It doesn't have to be. You could,
well, shall I? I shall inform the peoples of the tools that I do
right.
use.
Since we moved to you, they should hear your tool sets, yes.
So keep in mind my main sphere is time. My tools are energy, symbols, and prayers and invocations. I'm imagining energy and prayers and invocations might be a little difficult to turn into a personalized tool, at least for time.
List your 3 again.
Energy, symbols, prayers and invocations.
Symbols is the most obvious.
Yeah. Which kind of makes me not want to do symbols.
You could be a straight up nerdy mage and use Doctor Who memorabilia that you have to utilize in a specific way.
Wow.
I mean, you could also sort of combine your symbols and your prayers and like have something like a
Mm-hmm.
saint's medallion.
Yeah. You could have.
Well, my character isn't Catholic. My character believes in all the religions, so.
Here's a fun one for Ever. You could have a representation of Gallifreyan, the symbols he uses on a medallion. You must actually not only hold, but actually say a Doctor Who phrase for it to work as a personalized instrument.
Are we getting
That
a
would
lot
be
of
valid.
LLC?
Oh my god. Sorry, I'm just like fan personing over here for a second.
Wibbly wobbly.
Yes, David Tennant is my favorite. If you must know.
I don't recommend a DeLorean though. It's gonna be really hard to utilize all the time.
Damn. Can I have a
Well,
TARDIS?
A miniature one that you wear as a necklace, maybe? A mug that looks like one? Sure.
Little TARDIS keychain.
Does the mug fit more coffee on the inside?
You probably believe it does.
I almost made Rachel spit take.
While you think for a second, I will answer the counseling couch. Yeah, the consequences, I'm not malicious enough to take those away from them, because I'm going to do other horrible things to them. However, yes, if you lose your personalized tool, you're essentially working without focus. You don't go back to no bonus or penalty, you go immediately to penalty. Don't lose it. It's like losing a spell book in D&D.
Oof. I do like the idea of making it a nerd memorabilia kind of situation. That makes me really happy. Yeah. And having to say a phrase from the TV show.
Okay. I'll give you a minute to use your Google Foo to come up with what that is.
I have to pick one? Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I will Google Foo.
You can actually use many during the game, but only that one with that object is the personalized tool. The rest are all just regular tools. And also, if you started using phrases, that would actually be a new tool for you, because none of your words and intonations are not part of your normal practice at the moment. Change that, though. You could add that if you want that to be instruments.
So also another thing pops into my head of everyone, almost everyone I would think, knows about the rhyme Hickory Dickory Dock.
Mm-hmm.
I could also picture like having obviously a watch, but one that's broken, and spinning the hands saying that children's poem at the same time, and that's yeah, give me a bit to think a little more on that one, but I do like having some sort of something nerdy.
Steven!
Yes. So I totally blanked in my brain hole. But I think I am going to make my personalized focus my hand wrap.
Excellent.
The one that I actually have wrapped currently. Badly. It would be both the combination of the wrap itself, like the physical wrap, but also how I apply it, the process of putting it on, helping to focus my energies.
Perfect.
It's red because you bled into it so many times.
It would actually be the blood of the master I killed.
Oh. Okay,
But he wouldn't tell you that.
Yeah, no, it's the blood from yeah.
All right, Eric, what you got?
I got 2 out of 3. I wasn't sure which one would fit him best, but I went with the obvious choice being prayers and invocations, sacred iconography. And the third I wasn't sure about if I should go symbols or languages, because they both kind of fit, I feel.
Language
it would
would
be-
make sense for Catholics.
And
Language,
the best, And a proper personalized tool would be both. You would need the symbol because it has to be an object, but you also need
Right.
the ritual that goes around it, which could be the Latin prayer, or it doesn't have to be Latin, but, you know. However, how far you want to go as the character.
Yeah, I wasn't sure with languages. I was thinking, you know, maybe he would use like old languages like Aramaic or what have you, and you know, stuff like nobody really knows or understands. It's like an old ritual or an old command or something that he would direct at somebody. And I guess as far as like the personal tool that he would utilize is like a metallic cross that has like a flat silver or like a almost like a mirror backing to it, so like when he brings it up, the only thing that you see is the reflection in it, and that's what he would use to sort of channel that. It's the wonder trait that I put in there for the specific cross. That's what I would imagine his personalized object would be. You said we have two that we choose,
One.
or two objects, or just one?
Just-
That would be the one then, yeah.
To apply to Prime in your case, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're good, yes. Now, technically, we could say because yours is a wonder, and especially a 4 or 5 dot wonder, it's unique, but that's too much power to start with. You know. Still just personalized. Perhaps later it shall convert.
Sure.
And Rachel,
Hey. So I'm gonna be super obnoxious. So my tools, which I picked really early in the character creation process, are body modification, scrolls and periodicals, and devices and machines. But like as I've put this character together, I've sort of gone in a different direction. So I'm wondering, like, I want to keep body modification because that makes sense. Could I swap devices and machines out for thought forms?
yes.
Cool, thank you.
So how are we going to turn that into a personalized tool?
Well, I think it would be cool if part of her body modification were intricate tattoos that she had.
Okay.
So
That would be very hard to steal, but not impossible.
yeah, well, like all you have to do is injure
In
the
you.
scar. Yeah, like injure her really badly, and now their
Yes.
scar is disrupting.
Would ruin it.
Hmm.
So what's the little mini ritual thing that goes around the tattoo? A thought form, probably, I'm guessing? Like you create
Yeah.
a mental construct. It doesn't have to be something you can act out. It just has to be something we know that you have to do. So it could be something internal to your character. You can just tell us, this time it's a tesseract, but next time it's chocolate bunny that's hollow on the inside and full of fire. If you're making a mental construct is the part that matters, and channeling the energy through the tattoo.
Yeah, so I think like her tattoos are very sort of chaotic, and so like they're not really of anything, and so she just does roar sarge testing basically to pull me out of them.
I like it. We can go with that.
Okay, and I think once her oh, she's got life too. She might even be able to like actually manipulate the tattoos.
Yes.
That's cool.
So that could be part of her the practice where she can never use the same tattoo twice. So if she wants to use the tattoo, she's got to spend like a little bit like changing it in some way according to her thought form. Does that work?
I'm okay with that, yeah.
Okay.
Might not be traditional, but it's very good for flavor. I like flavor.
Delicious flavor.
That's correct. Okay. And don't worry, Counseling Couch. I might seem like I'm nice, but I punish them oh so many other ways. You should check out our Lurking Silence playthrough and see.
That's awesome.
Alright, so. Spheres. I'm going to touch on each of them so everybody can hear. But we're only going to linger on any one that any of you have as primary. As far as Jared's specialized tool, he'll have to reveal that next week.
Did Ever pick a tool?
Oh, we didn't actually come back to the rhyme. I forgot. Thank you.
So I decided not to have a watch. I actually, funny enough, how I searched with this, I did Doctor Who memorabilia, and a spinner ring came up.
That's better than a watch.
Yeah. So, figured on that, and looking at these phrases now. This one kills me. There you go. End of the universe, Butterfingers. That one's kind of funny. I know it has nothing to do with time, but God, it's great. I could go super obvious and go for his wibbly wobbly timey wimey quote, but
I'll let you keep hunting. You don't need to know that right now. However, the first time you use your primary sphere, then you can spring it on us.
that will be fun. Nice.
So correspondence, which I know none of you have as a specialty, as a Divinity sphere, is all about connections and dimensions. It specializes in conjuration, scrying, gates, warding, and teleportation. It manipulates the ties between places, objects, and people. Most people, like I touched on last week, always assume it's just about teleporting and folding space. No, it's connections between people too. With correspondence, you could hurt someone through the connection they have to someone they love without ever affecting the two of them, just the connection itself. You can strengthen it, you can tear it out, you can do all kinds of horrible things with correspondence, or awesome things. Entropy. Again, nobody has this as an affinity sphere. Chance and immortality, specializing in fate, fortune, decay, order, chaos, and necromancy. Not D&D necromancy, actual communicating with the dead in the underworld necromancy. You would need more than entropy to make zombies. Forces. This would be Steven? No, life is Steven.
I have 2 in forces.
I have forces.
No, but none of you have it as primary, though, do you? Nope. Okay. Oh, Harry did. That's why I'm thinking someone did. When Harry returns, this will be his. Forces is raising energy or manipulating energy. It specializes in alchemy, motion, elements, technology, physics, weather, and weaponry. Fireball everything. Although, it's a lot more fun than that. I also like to invert energy. I think I mentioned that last week. You can add kinetic energy, but you can also very suddenly remove kinetic energy with high enough forces. That's a good way to make somebody stop chasing you and have a real bad day. Life. Now we're looking at Steve. The living form, specializing in transformation, shapeshifting, healing, improvement, creation, cloning, evolution, and injury. At 1 dot, you can sense life. At 2 dots, you can alter simple life forms and heal yourself. At 3 dots, you can transform simple life forms, alter yourself, and heal others. At 4 dots, you can alter complex life forms, transform yourself. At 5 dots, create life. Perfect metamorphosis of transformation is also possible.
Oh.
In your case, as an Akashic, the obvious uses are manipulating your physical dots.
Correct.
Also, you can do at 3 dots, which you have, you can start to do raw damage with life. You can tear their pattern. Or no, you don't. You didn't go with 3, did you?
No, I tried to make myself.
I tried
to make myself more diverse overall, so I went with the 2-2-1 starting off build.
Yes. Now, you often ask, how does this work mechanically? So I'm going to jump over to how do you do that in an awesome Mage 20 book. And we're going to talk about one way to do that. We're going to jump to martial arts, which some of this is going to be mined, but we can find some life applications in here. So, let's say you wanted to cause aggravated damage with a punch. You want to do the death punch. You could do the death punch with life magic. You could also do it with prime. It would actually be easier with prime plus some quintessence, because you only need 2 dots. But with life at 3 dots, you can shatter a pattern at a metaphysical level by punching it.
Okay.
To increase the amount of damage from a strike, you can upgrade the damage your fist delivers from bashing to lethal for the life 3 effect. Which again, you'll get to that soon enough. To spot flaws in a person's, as you would manifest in game terms, seeing that they drop their shoulder and what their weaknesses in their form and how best to instantly knock them out. Life 1, pretty simple. Life 3 allows you to soak lethal and aggravated damage as a human. So like, grabbing arrows, stopping bullets, that's actually forces, but it's similar.
Okay.
No, I guess a better example would be all those hours you spent getting hit in the gut and in the back, lower back.
Yeah, you can harden your skin and stuff.
Correct.
Organs. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Also, adding dots to certain talents can be done with life magic. Things that are just natural abilities that come from your being alive. Not so much knowledges or even skills, but talents, some of them, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Matter, which nobody is specializing in, is shaping material objects. This is the one most often overlooked in this game, and yet also, as Ever has seen in a previous non-show related game when Devin used it, super effective. Specializing in transmutation, shaping, conjuration, refinement, and complex patterns. Devin liked to turn gold into lead. He didn't like to do it the other way around. He also liked to make everyone sink into the street when they were being chased. That was another favorite trick of his. What else did he do?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but he did a lot of really creative ones.
Yes. He loved to do the Magneto thing because he also had life entropy and matter as his primaries. So, using a combination of matter and life, he thoroughly enjoyed pulling out the iron out of your body violently.
Yeah, good times.
Wow.
He should be in this game.
So, next. Mind. This would be Rachel's affinity sphere, the art of consciousness. The specialties are communication, illusion, emotion, social programming, self-empowerment, astral travel, mind shielding, psychodynamics, psychic combat. At 1 dot, you can sense thoughts and emotions, shield your own mind, and empower your mental self. 2 dots, you can read surface thoughts, create or manipulate empathic bonds, create impressions, or send mental impulses, like a flash of rage would be like a mental impulse. At 3 dots, you can create mental links and communicate telepathically, project illusions, enter people's dreams, and do raw psychic blasts, like a mind flayer. At 4 dots, you can control conscious minds, alter consciousnesses, and project astrally. And at 5 dots, you can control subconscious minds, forge psyches, and untether consciousness. So if you're at 5 mind and Steve's at 5 life, you've got the beginnings of making your own people. You have become God.
I'm down.
You also need 5 energy for that too, though. I might let you get away with it at 4 energy. And if you don't want it to be real creepy, you need a lot of spirit or prime so it has a soul.
We'll just peer pressure everyone else into buying those spheres up. Group project!
Alright. Jumping to how do you do that. We're going to look at, and I'll recommend you guys check this book out anytime you want. It's very helpful, helping you understand magic. It's a thing I did not have in 1994 when I first played this game.
It's really good.
Yeah, could have used this then. Well, let me tell you. What do we want to look at for you? Uncanny influence. Yes. Mind 1 would let you read someone's emotional state. Mind 2, possibly combined with life, lets you alter moods and read surface thoughts and detect lies. Very useful. Mind 3 lets you invade another person's thoughts, project illusions only they see, which is great, or overload the mind, which is what a psychic blast is. You overload, sensory overload. Sleep, you can do that with Mind 2 to make them want to sleep. At Mind 3, you can actually just put them to sleep. That's Mind 4. Mind 3, you can lull them towards sleep, and at Mind 4, just down. Hallucinations, obviously. And, there's something else I was going to say. Something that applied directly to you. Overcoming your own flesh prison, of course, is learning how to project your mind out of your body would be one of your ultimate goals. Surprisingly hard in Mage. Prime, Eric's sphere of affinity sphere, is the essence of everything. It is the thing that connects all. Specialties are resonance, artifice, because you'd be the magic item creator, perceptions, channeling, creation, and destruction. At 1 dot, you can sense the etheric, you can consecrate, and you can infuse personal quintessence, meaning you can actually channel quintessence from your node, from tasks, from wonders. It also means at that level, you're no longer restricted just to... You're not good at it at level 1, but you're no longer restricted to only your avatar dots in quintessence. Your pattern begins to understand how to hold so much more. At 2 dots, you can fuel your pattern, power up your own quintessence. Enchant patterns, beginning magic items, and a thing they call Body of Light, which is an idealized self projected from an ephemeral energy. It's not real, it doesn't have a really cool mechanical effect, but you can make yourself appear as like an angel of glowing light. Real good for a holy man, which is why I mentioned it.
Yeah, nice.
At 3 dots, you can channel quintessence, you can enchant life, you can create energy weapons, you can craft periapts to hold souls, and you can create straight up temporary wonders. At level 2, you can't really make a wonder, but you can empower one. At level 3, you can start making ones that burn out. Lucky charms, stuff like that. You can actually create tasks, solidify quintessence into a physical object, which is very useful. You can channel energy into other people's patterns, and of course at level 3, you can burn people with raw prime. You can basically burn their soul, causing aggravated damage. Good times.
I will punch your soul. God damn.
At level 4, stand by. That PDF just went crazy.
Oh.
It's twice tonight. It's like, look, and then you want to use me, so I'm not going to cooperate. Because I'm Adobe. Level 4, you can expel or infuse energy into or out of things. You can craft tasks out of your own essence, and you can create permanent wonders. Also, you could drain quintessence from objects or even from raw forces. You can disintegrate. So he could drain. Cairn? Yeah, he could drain the quintessence out of a werewolf cairn and disintegrate the holy tree into ashes.
Oh.
At Prime 4, you could burn the tree with holy fire. Yeah, all kinds of really creepy, powerful shit begins happening. You can make an impossible to break object. You can bond organic and inorganic materials to create perfected cybernetic implants, stuff like that. You can also create soul gems at that point. You can infuse your personal quintessence into a periapp that you've created and carry around a soul gem of a portable vessel that's filled with your own resonance and your own energy. Why is that useful? Because you can pour the quintessence in yourself into it, And then whenever you carry it into like a room, that room resonates with whatever you resonate with, which is useful for spellcasting. And also, you can pour your quintessence into it, take a nap, regenerate your own quintessence, and then now you've got this to suck on when you run out in a useful situation.
Huh.
Yeah. Like a healing potion of quintessence.
Yeah.
And at 5 dots, you can infuse or withdraw the life force of the living being. You can create your own nodes. You can create soul flowers, which is only going to happen if you go dark side. And you can nullify paradox.
I thought a soul flower sounded so nice.
Doesn't it?
It had a dark connotation to it. I was like, oh, it's a soul flower.
It sounds so nice, but it basically means you take a complex organism, meaning it has to be an advanced animal or a human, and you turn them into walking periapts, whose only purpose is to fuel you as a quintessence battery.
Oh shit!
Whoa.
I turned into like the
That's how I
awakening
can
version
eat a
of Malak
demon.
from.
That is how you can eat a demon, yes.
Turns to Malak.
Demon
from,
is
like,
a complex
the,
life
Star
form
Wars game.
if you can summon it physically. Okay,
Just drain the shit out of him.
yeah.
Wow.
Spirit, this is Jared's affinity sphere. Specializes in umbral travel, spirit dealings, obviously. Gauntlet manipulation, the gauntlet being the barrier between our world and the spirit worlds. Primal spirits, tech spirits, celestials, infernals, and possession. At 1 dot, he can see spirits and sense spirits. At 2 dots, he can interact with them at low levels and manipulate the gauntlet, making it easier or harder to travel between realms. At 3 dots, he can start traveling between realms. He can also quiet the spirits of an area, lowering their power, or raise them, making their essence more powerful in that area. Also, you can start summoning at that level. At 4 ranks, he can rend the gauntlet, which means he can create portals. He can seal breaches, which close down portals, and he can bind spirits to objects. So, like, you get that person, you get that Nefandi that you finally captured that you don't like. You turn it into a soul flower, and then he puts the demon in the body by binding it to the person. Rachel can eat it.
Wow.
Yay!
Wow.
At 5 dots,
Wow.
he can forge ephemera, which means create his own spirits. He can perform Gilgul, which we keep talking about when I say, if Steve ever gets caught, I'm gonna tear your soul out, make you a human. Or tear your avatar out. And break the dream shell, which basically means he can venture beyond. So in our new Kult crossover cosmology, he can venture beyond the Citadel and the Inferno and the Labyrinth and the Abyss. He can venture into unknown realms of space and spirit beyond the horizon. Time, Eversphere. Specializing in perceptions, prophecy, time triggers, time travel, temporal control. At 1 dot, you can sense time. You always know exactly what time it is wherever you're at.
No.
But you can still be late. You can also detect the influence of time magic in an area and on people. At 2 dots, you can pre- and post-cognition, and you can thicken time in an area to prevent other time magic. It's like time defenses. At 3 dots, you can contract or delay time, which is basically bullet time. And you can do very brief time rewinding by a few rounds. At 4 dots, you can withdraw yourself from the normal flow of time. Set triggering events, which is basically the what's that called?
Wait, what?
Contingency spell.
Contingency.
Yeah, this will happen when this specific event happens that I know is going to happen because I use
Oh.
to make sure.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
And create anchor points in preparation for actual time travel. You can also set up time bubbles, capturing beings or phenomena and freezing them. That perfect moment lasts forever. Groundhog Day. And at 5 dots, of course, true time travel. That's when you're like, I don't like how this game ended. We're starting over, guys. which will obviously go exactly how you want it to every
Yes.
time.
Correct.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. My dog is probably freezing to death.
It happens.
Oh, that is bad.
Not actually freezing to death. Just a side note. When Tyler disappears, he's probably just letting Holly out. She loves the cold. She's a crazy dog. She loves the cold. She's crazy. She's part husky.
She's all floof.
She is all floof.
She's mostly husky and thinks she's freezing to death. No, it's like, I must come in, my feet are cold. Okay, so.
But the toe tufts. Sorry.
No, you're good. And thus is your complete primer on magic. Steve, do you have any... I don't mean to call you out, but I know that you and I have discussed this at length, that magic is confusing, and you're right, it is.
Okay.
You have any specific questions before, things will just come up and play?
No, I think for the most part it's a situational thing for me. So we'll,
Okay.
Yeah, as we play, I'll get, I've only ever played the one game with you of this, so I think it's just an exposure thing.
Yeah. For those wondering, we did a Technocracy Reloaded playthrough to push the book when it was still in backer kit. It might still be in backer kit, actually, but when it was freshly in backer kit. And I took 2 people who played Mage and 3 who hadn't and said, here you go!
Game!
Into the deep end of the pool.
Here's 20 years of meta plot. Good luck.
It was awesome.
I'm so sad I missed that.
Oh,
it was a good
you
story.
never got to meet John.
It was a good story. Steve broke the world.
I can believe that.
Note to the audience: the best way to defeat a Nefandi is not to create endless digital clones of said Nefandi, hoping one day they'll attack each other.
It was a perfect plan, and I stand by my decision.
It gets worse.
Are you
He
accepting?
merged the Nefandi clones with an emergent AI.
Are you accepting notes?
No, there are.
I have notes.
There are no notes needed. This is a
Okay.
This plan is in deployment stage.
Thanks to you, Steve, or John, as it were. You were in my perfectly good character. From a mad scientist to an even madder
I did.
scientist who ended up torturing a bunch of ghost hunters
I did.
forever.
Not to go
All
back
of
to
our
this
20th.
game. Not to go back to this game continuously, but I did also mix that Nefandi with the emerging AI he's referring to was a combat AI system
Yes, it was.
designed to, deploy
Annihilate.
certain mechs into areas.
It gets worse. It was a combat AI specifically programmed for. Crap! I forgot their name now. Help, Rachel. Pentex.
Oh,
Specifically designed for Pentex.
okay. Are you sure you're not taking notes?
Best part is because all of our 20th anniversary stories are in the same universe. That emergent Pentex combat AI Nefandis with unlimited clones is in your world somewhere. Sure, it won't come up.
No, not at all.
So, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take a quick 7-ish minute break. When we come back, we're going to play. We'll talk about where you're at. You're gonna set up your chantry, and yes, Council and Couch, they do know each other. You're gonna set up your little background and have your opening scenario. So, audience, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 7 minutes. We have returned. First half of this session, we delve deeply into magic and how it works in this game and philosophy. You can't play Mage without philosophy. Now, part 2, we're finally getting to actually play. Also, before we begin, for all you players, since most of you are new, Rachel, most of the rest of you are, I think all the rest of you are. If anything in your character does not come out the way you thought it would in your head, anytime during chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4, the first 4 sessions starting tonight, up till chapter 5, you can change anything on the sheet. Just got to get my approval. Spheres, practice, focus, whatever you need. If it doesn't work for you, we can change up till then.
Thank you.
Because this is a intense game when it comes to getting into the character.
Yeah.
Okay. You... Oh, I should do a decent switch. Hold on. That's been running for 90 minutes.
That's like the one song that when it runs forever, I don't notice.
Don't mind, I know.
Yeah, like there's something about this one specifically.
Okay. This is the other one we often forget is running forever because we love it. You will be adventuring in the Miskatonic Hollow. For the audience, check out Scion Masks of the Mythos and Scion Dragon, both in Kickstarter right now, Scion 2E supplements. They're freaking awesome. We did a live play of Mythos, and now we're doing one for Dragon on Tuesdays on the Onyx Path channel. Love it. I stole from Chris Spivey's awesomeness of Mythos. I guess it's Spivey. I think it's Spivey. His idea of the Miskatonic Hollow, which is essentially Lovecraft country, but slightly expanded and modified. It's unlike a traditional World of Darkness game where you're usually stuck in a city or its surrounding environs. You're going to have a whole region that we're calling the Miskatonic Hollow. This will include Boston, unlike in Masks of Mythos, which it does not. So, we're going to talk about said Miskatonic Hollow. Miskatonic Hollow includes Arkham, Dunwich, Kingsport, Innsmouth, and the surrounding environment. including part of the Appalachia, obviously, if it includes Dunwich. It's a pretty wide area, and a lot of it is super rural and wild. Good for the mages. And then, of course, Kult crossover. You're going all kinds of terrible places. But in the physical world, this is where we'll focus most of our time. So, in the Discord, I'm going to drop you some pics, and I'll have Sean throw them up on the website if the audience wants to see them later in the week after we do the recap. So, these are just so you have a frame of reference. First of all, Boston. Here is a fun map of Boston, not a super serious one because it's boring. Basically showing you how the city's divided up. When it comes to needing a big city, Boston will be where you go. I don't require you all to use your Boston accents because I probably won't be either, but if you want to take a crack at it, have at it. You'll be going here relatively often, but your chantry will not be here. You'll probably spend most of your time in Cambridge area, Beacon Hill, Fenway, if you're near the city too. You'll be living, of course, Arkham. So, first, here's a fun picture, artistic rendering of Arkham. City out of time that even in the modern era looks somehow old and quaint. Here is a map of Arkham. We'll come back to this in a minute when you decide where you want your chantry to be, if you want it to be in town. Okay. Arkham itself, and that's a modern map of Arkham, not a 20s map. That's a envisioning of modern Arkham.
That is what it looks like today.
Or what it would look like today if it was real, correct.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Clarifying for the audience, sadly Arkham is not real, that'd be awesome. And also very terrible, all at the same time.
It's totally real. What?
One moment. The PDF died again, so I'm pulling out my Word doc. Okay. There is an inescapable strangeness about the mighty Miskatonic River and the land it drains. Some of it comes from the mundane machinations of humanity, but some of it seems to ooze from the land itself. There are many alien forces that have long inhabited this troubled watershed, causing otherness to become an integral part of the valley's uncanny terrain. The Miskatonic Valley encompasses a large swath of Essex County, Massachusetts, running south of the Merrimack and Ipswich basins, and north of the Charles River and Boston Harbor. The river itself empties out of the north coastal region of Massachusetts and into the Atlantic. The county includes Salem, Newbury, and Methuen. The Miskatonic's headwaters emerge from springs west of isolated Dunwich, wending eastward, down among eerily rounded hills, cutting through the middle of Arkham, emptying into the Atlantic just north of the strange city of Kingsport. Up the coast lies the militant, isolated town of Innsmouth, where newcomers are seldom welcomed. The valley's natural landscapes project a sense of foreboding. Streams twist over tortured topography, disappearing into unknown cavities, only to re-emerge from surprising recesses. Glaciers left behind cyclopean formations of granite, undulating moraines, and giant, irregular boulders carry from unknown distant lands. Back roads snake past abandoned farm communities and derelict mills, while branches of elderly trees arc and encroach on travelers from above. The coast is crowded with hidden bays, toothy rock formations, shipwrecking shoals of barrier islands. Visitors passing through are often left wondering why the Miskatonic area exudes such an atmosphere of primordial unease. Indigenous people of the Miskatonic Valley farmed upland tidal waters and maintained seasonal fishing camps along the coast. People who would later galvanize under a confederacy known as Wampanoag, including the Agawam of Essex County and the Namkiag, I think it's Namkiag, hopefully. If anyone knows, correct me on that. The Namkiag tribe near Salem grappled and staved off both Mythos forces for countless generations until the Europeans arrived and ruined it all. In the early 17th century, English settlers from the Massachusetts Bay Colony brought devastating diseases, slavery, aggressive religious conversion, and forced conscription for warfare among foreign powers. which suppressed and all but erased the long oral histories of the indigenous triumphs, losses, and alliances against the mythos. Miskatonic is a nonsense name given by early European settlers who likely appropriated poorly overheard indigenous words whenever corrected. The Europeans carved out their plantations and exploited trade in slavery and sugarcane from the Caribbean, exporting fish, lumber, and beef. Later waves of industry in the 19th and 20th centuries brought textile and paper mills and waves of migration from places such as Southern Europe, French Canada, Russia, and Ireland, as well as African Americans fleeing campaigns of murder and terrorism in southern states during the Great Migration. Contemporary Miskatonic Valley continues to wend through the ruins of a layered past. The basin's identity remains forever haunted by these symbols and myths. As a nest for mythos entities, the valley has an uncanny way of elongating and distorting the shadow of its history. Very eclectic place, presented as a very dark and creepy place. Arkham! Around 46,000 people live in the city. Demographically, it's actually fairly diverse. It's about 70% white people and then 30% minorities, mostly Hispanic or Latinx, African American, South Asians, and a very small percentage of First Nation. It has a median income of $64,000, a median age group of 38, and the cost of living is 125% indexed compared to the national average. For reference, Boston is 132%. So, Arkham represents one of the first settlements to come from the Great Egress, of good English peoples escaping troubled lives in their homeland for a simpler life in the New World. This frontier represented a blank slate on which they could build a community more wholly complete and committed to their God's intentions for them in this lifetime. Salem was the first in 1626, with Arkham soon after in 1628. 2 years later, there began a tidal wave of thousands of immigrants from England that lasted until 1642 and seeded what would become Essex County. The land was rich, fertile, and welcoming to the resolute and hard-working. Their First Nation neighbors, the Wampanoag, were kind and happy to teach these foreigners the things they needed to know to thrive. What and where to plant were important almost as much as what and where not to. They taught them better trapping techniques for game that wandered in the area, as well as a number of other useful skills. With a climate much like their homeland, and ready access to timber and lots of other raw resources, as well as waterways to ferry them quickly to the coast, these people thrived in their new home, this New England. The foreigners were strange to the native people of what would become America with their odd tales of this new world. The indigenous people told them of great battles and of old gods and beings older than time that had come before them and would come again after them, that shaped the very earth they stood on. They spoke of events so ancient that no human individual possibly have borne witness, yet their story would have made the foreigners believe they were actually there. They cautioned the settlers to take heed in numerous parts of the forest, advising them to avoid certain places entirely. Some were odd landmarks, with characteristics that made it hard to understand how human hands could have fashioned them. Others were simply parts of the forest where nothing seemed to grow, barren with the stench of death. No person of sound mind would traverse voluntarily. The alpacas were fine. Others were just areas with ominous-sounding names, as if a warning were built into the moniker. Exactly what these Puritans were to be warned away from was never clear. Suffice to say, the Puritans ignored most of this advice, and it went very badly for them. The story of Arkham is the story of most New England towns with some minor revisions. Arkham was built along the Miskatonic River and sprawled into its surroundings as more and more immigrants arrived and families expanded. The slow but steady transformation of woodlands that were thick and wild into tamed and managed farmland was inevitable. Trees were cleared to make way for roads. Lumber became the farmhouses, barns, and fences, and this was progress for the next century and a half until the bounty of the woodlands was spent entirely. The end of the 17th century bore witness to decades of witch hunts that spread through New England, hitting Massachusetts particularly hard. All the news from neighboring Salem reported on the seemingly never-ending number of trials, dunkings, and burnings in their attempt to cleanse their town of evil. While the rest of their neighbors waged their crusade, Arkhamites took a different approach. It wasn't that they were any less devout or less committed to their god than any other good citizen of New England. It certainly wasn't because Arkham could be declared free of sinister influence or point of evil. There were too many strange goings-on, too many rumors, whisper stories, and odd folks with even odder behaviors that no one could or wanted to explain. Every Arkhamite knew and was rightly leery of the witch house on Pickman Street. Its strange sounds, terrifying smells, and unsettling way it seemed to affect its lodgers. While everyone was concerned about everyone was concerned about what unholy happenings went on inside. No one dared cross its bounds and knock on the door to inquire. It seemed every citizen breathed a sigh of relief when the news came of Uzziah Mason's arrest and trial in Salem, but she was the house's owner. Then they quickly sucked in and held their breath at the news of her disappearance from her locked cell. No, it was not that the people of Arkham heeded their god less. Perhaps it could be said forever that they had a keen sense of the forces at play and could recognize that which was beyond the laws of mortals, and they brushed against it. Like most of New England, the Red Coats marched through during the war, and even managed to burn down quite a bit of the town. Unlike other towns, there were multiple reports of regiments wandering into the woods and disappearing. Individual soldiers who left the safety of numbers to make chase into the trees did not return. A search turned up only empty, lifeless uniforms, still whole and intact as if the bodies had simply been sucked out of them. The forest eventually proved unnavigable. Soldiers swore that north would drift and they would end up lost, nowhere near where they should be. There also seemed to be a wildly unmanageable and unproportionately large population of wolves. These events and the strange inhuman sounds that came from the trees meant the British soon stopped coming through at night and eventually stopped coming through at all. The 1900s were prosperous for Arkham. With the exception of typhoid in 1905, it thrived. Like all towns, it lost its share of boys, yes.
I just can't help but imagine that moment from just like a couple of scouts are coming from out of that area and just like to meet the British soldiers and be like, oh yeah, go that way, it's great, like super easy, just go on ahead. And the next one like, hey, is that place really that easy? Fuck no, there's goddamn wolves. Just wolves everywhere. Just
so many wolves. Like all towns, it lost its share of boys and men to 2 world wars, but the opening of Miskatonic University in the early part of the century meant more youth and vibrancy than most towns had during the war. Shortly after, Arkham Sanitarium opened. These 2 institutions brought in professors, doctors, and researchers of all stripes. While Arkham was considerably smaller, its reputation was comparable to the great institutions of Boston: education, medical, and otherworldly affairs. In the modern day, despite trying occasionally, Arkham was never quite able to shake its small-town Puritan roots. It does have a bustling, steady population, of which nearly 10% are students and faculty at the university. Something about the small-town vibe, regardless of the crime, makes Arkham feel strangely safe to the young residents. It isn't. That youthful energy and money have led to the town having an active nightlife scene. The latest tunes float out of clubs to those looking for fun music and good food. Arkham provides well, since like most small university towns, it has its share of contemporary conveniences. Lots of coffee shops, lots of bakeries, large Marge's abound, including the best donuts in New England. Large Marge's Donut Barn, y'all.
What's a Dunkin'?
Best donuts in New England because this is the Large Marge original location in Arkham.
Oh.
There are a couple of medium-sized butchers and grocers. There's a frozen yogurt store, bubble tea shop, hotels, and lots of restaurants, ranging from all expense levels. And while the town has managed to keep out every other national chain, there is, much to the dismay of many, one single Starbucks. On the main street, you can find just about everything you might be looking for, including practical things like hardware stores, all kinds of banks, locksmith, car mechanics, used car dealers, drug stores, you get the point. There is a local comic book shop that is surprisingly like the one Steve shops at, almost identical, one might say, and game store, plus the music store where you can rent or buy an instrument and learn to play it. There's mini golf, a couple movie houses, a playhouse, and way more bars and music venues than there should be.
Alright guys, so cancel the campaign, and we have to just do a mini golf tournament.
Do a whole session where Steve does his pull list.
Can we cheat?
Yeah, all of our characters' abilities put towards mini golf.
I'm
For
down.
mages, cheating is by definition.
Oh god, that would be magnificent. Just all the mages in this group just mini golfing.
Mini golfing.
God.
I can make that happen, and somehow it will be disturbing.
Oh.
Of course, all this means that the students leave campus and spend their money, which, considering what a year at Miskatonic University costs, is far more than the average 20-year-old Arkham has in walking around money. Locals love it here too, except the part when school closes for holidays. Like all good Puritan towns, there are no fewer than a dozen churches to save your immortal souls, including one very large Catholic church. How convenient. However, most churchgoers don't think those who need it most ever attend at all. The fact that all the students seem to sleep in on Sunday mornings or attend on-campus church sits just fine with the locals. One of the ways Arkham... Huh?
Can I just point out to the players, Tyler, you earmuffs, he's mentioning students a lot in all of this. There's something fucky with that university, like, specifically. Like, we know Arkham University is bad, but keep an eye out on these students.
Yeah,
Miskatonic's fine. It's a New England liberal college. Nothing bad happens there. They certainly don't have any books of forbidden knowledge in their library vaults. Wait, why does the library have a vault?
Check out the playhouse in the fall.
Miskatonic University, Stephen, is just as safe as Arkham Asylum is well-respected, and a clean, modern mental health facility.
Alright, I'm convinced.
One of the ways Arkham holds fast to its history is that it's governed by the same town council that was put in place almost 300 years ago. Obviously not the same members.
I was about to ask.
Probably. One of the few and most important changes came around 40 years ago, when the council changed the bylaws to allow one non-native Arkhamite member of the board, meaning somebody who moved there. With the closing of paper mills and other port-based industries leaving the greater area and the U.S., there were growing concerns about the health of the small town with its very little industry of its own. As a gesture of goodwill and to show appreciation, the role the university plays in the community, a new seat was created. Miskatonic University and Arkham Asylum are fundamental to the economic well-being of the town, though anyone who sits on the council will give you all kinds of number to show Arkham could live just fine without the school. It's not true. There is an economic divide here, with the median income just shy of $63,500. The top half is weighted heavily with employees of the Big Two. In fact, these looming institutions are just about the only places to make a six-figure salary in Arkham. This does help push up the cost of living over time, making it harder for lifelong blue-collar workers to keep up. What does that mean for the average Arkhamite? Turns out it's a little easier to get things done and make your way if your family name appears on the old citizen ledgers. Anytime permission, planning, permits, or even just general courtesy is required, new Arkham residents, as in anyone who's moved there in the past century and a half, encounter roadblocks and technicalities one could argue were constructed just for them. Not that they can prove it or find anyone will listen when they complain. They're more likely to be arrested for disturbing the peace than finding justice. Okay.
Sounds legit.
Arkham Sanitarium, in one form or another. Arkham Sanitarium is nearly as old as Arkham itself. During the Revolutionary War, a makeshift jail was built to house found and captured British soldiers. It maintained its usefulness after the war. It's not really a jail, but a kind of less formal, out-of-the-way place to keep troubled or problem citizens of Arkham. As long as the people stowed there weren't missed, no one paid much attention to exactly who the detainees had been a problem to, or in what way they were troubled. The actual building that became the sanitarium was built on that same site sometime in the early 1800s, and Arkham Sanitarium was both hospital and institution. A fire, rumored to have been started by one of the patients trying to keep away the shadows, toward the end of the century burned half the building to the ground. sending the wing with all the records up in smoke. Its rebuilding was interrupted by the typhoid outbreak in 1905, so the new facility wasn't completed for nearly a decade. When it was done, it was state-of-the-art and the envy of every small town up and down the coast. These days, Arkham Sanitarium staff has a reputation for tenacity. They are sent the most difficult cases because they never give up on a patient. To say that there is a bit of a direct shoot between Miskatonic and the Sanitarium would be understated. University faculty and staff have always made up a peculiarly consistent number of the patients. But that's fine, it doesn't matter, move on. The saying goes that Miskatonic is the place you end up when you're searching for answers. Arkham is where you end up once you found them. There are people who die there, but no funerals are ever performed. There haven't been any new graves in the adjacent cemetery in decades. There are stories of snarling upright beasts that are glimpsed on the grounds, always seen running away toward the graveyard. Nonsense. The sanitarium graveyard is off limits to everyone, especially at night. The terrifying screams that come from the building at night can be heard in Arkham proper carried on the wind. This did not seem to alarm anyone until the 50s, when the entire building was evacuated for 2 days to nearby Sefton Asylum due to a gas leak. Lights off and empty, what should have been a still and silent building rang still with the same terrified screams, perhaps even a little louder. Moving on. Miskatonic University. When fully attended, it can house 12,000 students. It has an 8-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. That's a lot of teachers. 63% of the students are considered in-state residents, 24% foreign nationals and exchange students. The school is much more diverse than the city itself, with only about 53% being white and the rest minorities. The accredited classes available are medicine, public health, history, clinical psychology, nursing, science, and physics. And its mascot is a northern stargazer. Completely normal. Okay. Miskatonic University is an Ivy League university, with its medical school being recognized worldwide as a place for advanced medical procedures, research, and award-winning graduates. Graduating from the university carries with it an honor regardless of grade point average, and especially endears graduates to the Arkham residents. It has a hand-on approach. Each student must complete a research project as a requirement for graduation, even though studying mundane coursework like library science or journalism. It prioritizes laboratory time over recreational time, and the various deans take a personal interest in student activities. It isn't to say the atmosphere is stifling. Instead, the amount of focus on academic pursuit gives the students the necessary impetus to not only succeed but excel. And yes, Miskatonic University does have a vault. Why do you ask? Looking at Rachel.
Nosy kids.
It's a vault, because, you know, you gotta put stuff in the vault. It's an advanced medical college. There might be some books in there, but it's a medical college.
The books are restless tonight.
Speaking of the Miskatonic University Library, it's housed in the new Henry Armitage, God rest his soul, library building. It once stood in the old Miskatonic College building, the original structure that started the colleges in Arkham, dating back to the 1600s. It's its own entire building, and it houses thousands of original texts, first editions, and sold copies of works that barely been seen by the world. These texts are almost uniformly donated from anonymous researchers, alumni, and friends of the university out of travels to places.
No, that says unanimous.
Sure, that's what it says. Miskatonic University houses the largest occult library in the world, and possibly in all of creation. Most of it is not digitized, though, for no particular reason, just time. Yeah, time. Okay. And now, that's a big intro to Arkham, because that'll be your central locale. Do a quick intro of the other locations in the area. Dunwich is about 3,500 people in the modern era, 98% of which are U.S. white citizens. Shocking. It's It's an insular, bigoted, racist place. It's not a nice place to go. Medium age is 47. Median income is $28,000. And most of the town has been destroyed in one disaster or another. People there are really weird, too. Just, probably don't go there. When you actually do, if at some point you do travel there, I will break you in on the modern version of the city now that, the events of the Lovecraft story have transpired 90 years ago. Things have changed a bit since then, but it's not a lot better. Also, there are rumors that there may be a secret government facility to imprison strange beings on one of the islands near the town. There may have even been a little bit of an incident there a few years ago. A bunch of outsiders came, and there was a big storm, and it's not a big deal. Check out our They Came From Beneath the Sea first play ever. Okay. Dunwich. Dunwich is a town that exists out in them there woods. Most of Dunwich is now Dunwich State Park. When the town had its industrial boom, they had several hundred acres converted into a state park. To protect it, it has since expanded wildly. It's got some weird stuff, like the stairs in the woods. It's just several sets of stairs sitting in the woods that just don't go anywhere. They're just there. Stuff like that. It's a weird place.
What was that first sentence you said again?
About Dunwich?
Yeah.
Most of it's a state park now.
No, them there woods down over there?
Oh, during the industrial boom, they petitioned to have several hundred acres turned into Dunwich State Park. I don't know what, I think I said in them there woods, there's a lot of weird stuff, like stairs that just don't go anywhere.
I felt personally called out with the way that you said that. Going after the way I talk sometimes.
No, this isn't a swamp. This is the Appalachians. You're okay. For now.
Mm-hmm.
The town of Dunwich is actually just a really small, isolated, super rural town. It's 500-600 people. Why does it even matter? I don't know. I'm sure it won't come up. Havens Point. Havens Point is a town of 25,000 people, 35,000 if you include the surrounding farmlands. About 48% white, the rest minorities. Median income of 45 grand, the median age of 44. Havensport was made by people who left Salem. It's kind of a tragic town. People left Salem in droves before, during, and after the witch trials, and that's how Havensport became a place that continuously had bad luck. It's almost like it's been cursed. Innsmouth. We already mentioned Innsmouth, yes. They have a really weird church there. It's their own strange religion. The Esoteric Order of Dagon. It's fine. It's a free country. Kingsport. Kingsport has a population of 70,000. It's also about 50% white, 50% minorities. Kingsport. How can I shorten this? It's a city of dreams and broken dreams. I'll call it that. It was a beacon for the lost and displaced. People would come there, try to escape bad pasts and start new beginnings. But just as often, it would become a nightmare for them. Again, the city had a lot of bad luck in its past. Weird theme for this region of the world. Dorchester. The Dorchester Company founded the city the second time. We don't talk about what happened the first time. Eventually it became a fishing village. A lot of weird geological quirks and inconsistencies in the bedrock. Means it grew weirdly and people disappeared weirdly. It's fine. It became a center of religious freedom in the 18th century due to Quaker influence. There's a lot of churches with those awesome, look like it's going to stab you steeples that go on forever. It tried to stay out of the Revolutionary War, and it did well for it. In the 19th and 20th centuries, it turned into an industrial textile mill town, which means it went terribly when all of that crashed and burned. And in the modern times, it's a weird, fast town. It's somewhere between industry, tourism, past and present, all mashed together. That only leaves real-life locations, which we don't need to touch on because you can always just Google it, like Salem. And then Boston itself. Home of super wasting tea. Okay. So. Arkham. I'm sorry. Nope, yep, that is what I want. Arkham, where you live. Obviously, unless you specifically want to call it out, none of your names. However, you could say you have family lives. Think about that for a minute. While you're thinking about that, we're going to talk about your chantry. For the audience, when I had them build these characters, I gave them all kinds of flaws and dark secrets to make this a good cult crossover, in exchange for which they got lots of bonus freebie points. I forced them to dedicate 4 points of each of their freebies towards group backgrounds. So they have quite the potent chantry.
Hell yeah.
Yes, definitely an advantage. You know, you in no way will absolutely need just to survive. Your chantry. See if I can find our most recent post of it. I'm gonna give you the dots, and you guys are gonna work together to figure out what it looks like. Like, I'll describe the structure, but you have to describe how the dots manifest in the game world. Past all that stuff about awareness and madness.
I think we should have an indoor swimming pool.
No, it's gonna be out in the woods. It's gotta be out in the woods.
It's gotta be in the woods?
The swimming pool?
Well, there's outdoor swimming pools. Have you seen those videos of like those guys that live in urban areas and they just dig like made swimming pools with sticks?
I just want a gym.
Something like that.
I feel like a gym is probably well received by this group.
Yeah.
I guess.
Are we all pretty physically fit people?
Well, I mean,
I would say my
I
guy.
don't know about the rest of you, but, you know, gotta keep up those guardian skills.
I mean, I do have a familiar that is my emotional support coyote, and we probably go on runs, you know, pretty regularly.
Okay.
Oh, Jared's character has a new best friend.
So what's our... so I mean, let's start with architecture style. What are we doing? Old New England, like, manor estate? Or...
Would that be nice overlooking the ocean?
If we don't want to attract attention, and I'm guessing we don't, it should at least look from the outside like a nice New England estate.
Magic. I think we can get that with magic.
Yeah. I think we're just trying to figure out what...
No, you can't. Nobody has matter.
Oh, crap. That's dumb. Okay.
Yeah, and I have better things to do than be tour guard and just Jedi mind trick everyone who walks up.
Right.
That's all you'd ever have time to do, yeah.
Dead.
Ah, got it. So, you have 4 dots in the actual chantry background, which means, among other things, for the audience to know, it really is manor house sized. Doesn't have to be a manor house, though. It can be weird. It could be a abandoned nuclear silo if you wanted it to be. Abandoned missile silo if you wanted it to be. It could be an unused wing of the college that people just kind of overlook. Stuff like could be
I like that.
be a boat on the river. Like an old cargo vessel no one cares about anymore. Something this big. Doesn't have to be a house. You can make it weird. It could be a firehouse. It's
How about a
not in use
lighthouse?
anymore. Could be a lighthouse.
I like
I,
a lighthouse.
I kind of like the wing of the university, and like we could have it be like ag department, so it is kind of out there.
Like we could be like a college club. That'd be kind of cool.
Also, like agricultural colleges, they have a lot of farmland,
Mm-hmm.
like for reasons. Ours could just be overgrown.
Yeah, but wouldn't we have to go through city ordinances and stuff like that, or is that not going to matter?
I mean, normal people
Listeners.
would have to, but I have mine 3. We're fine.
Good point. Good point.
You also have group resources 3, and 2 of you are stupidly rich without the group resource pool. You've got a multi-millionaire in this group and a billionaire in this group.
Who,
One of these fools dropped 5 dots of resources.
who's rich? Who's rich in this group?
I know who one of them is, but who's the other one?
Doesn't this place have a node also?
Really
Tyler.
easy to get people to give you their money when you
It's-
have a lot of mind.
It's Eric. Eric got that collection plate money.
Eric is ridiculously poor, like a good priest.
Yeah.
Yes, but the node will shape to fit the buildings. First, you got to figure out what your building is.
No, I think I like that idea. I like the like an auxiliary campus, wing kind of thing, off, outside the main, quad life per se, and but still attached to the university.
What's the lore you want it to have? Do you want it to be constantly under construction? Do you want it to be closed for safety hazards? So the cover story is one of your rich members bought it out. You want it to be everyone thinks that shit's haunted and it's creepy and no one goes there except on Halloween. What's the reason people leave you alone?
Ooh, asbestos, and it's never been cleaned out, and the people coming to clean it out just keep getting pushed back. It'll get cleaned out one day.
Or they keep getting poisoned, and it's basically
No, they can't get poisoned because you live in there.
well, no, not poison, but like the asbestos just doesn't go away. Like that way.
There wouldn't actually be asbestos.
we
Yeah,
we
you
could
know what
say
I mean.
like, oh, it needs to get earthquake retrofitted,
100%.
which like I don't think happens much in New England.
Don't think so.
Hurricanes.
I actually liked the lighthouse idea that Jared tossed out there.
I liked it too, but since no one was agreeing with me, but ever, I like it. I just kind of went.
I mean, like
If
the
you all-
lighthouse are cool, but they're really small.
If you all actually open the picture I sent you of Arkham, the cartography map, you'll notice that the entire city does border the Miskatonic, and yes, there could be a lighthouse on the river.
Hmm.
Where's
On
the
the north
university?
side?
Hold on. I'm pretty sure the university is on the waterfront.
So we could have like the best of both
Find it.
worlds.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Have like a
The
haunted
university lighthouse.
So the lighthouse would just be part of the building you're in. It wouldn't be the entirety of it.
I think MU is like right down from the waterfront, like by a couple streets, a couple blocks. There's a big MU on the side of the building.
Yeah, it's got its own
On West
district
College
of the
Street.
town, correct.
That whole area there.
So no, you wouldn't actually be on the campus, but you could still be campus-owned property.
So it could be like would it be like a fraternity house kind of thing where?
No, you would not actually be part of the college. It's a cover.
Okay, gotcha.
None of you are professors, so you can't be part of the college.
Good point.
I could buy a professorship.
He has a professorship of ass whooping, or so I hear.
I just need the billionaire or millionaire to give me money.
Uh-huh. So, Whilst you're giving thought to that, I'm going to throw in the rest of these pictures I sent you, including Dunwich.
Alright. So we are a...
Innsmouth.
So we are a satellite or auxiliary building for the university near the waterfront that has a lighthouse.
Yeah,
Okay.
like part of the environmental program. Marine biology.
Yep.
Okay.
Whoa.
And no one goes there because...
No
So
reason.
if it's a satellite, like that just gives a good reason. Like, oh, I guess we're not having any marine biology classes this term.
No one complains.
After a series of unfortunate events with the marine biology branch of the university, we are shutting it down as a result of
Cephalopod
previous vorpal tales.
infestation.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of squamousness happening over here.
Yeah. I mean, and that would also tie in with the they came from.
Zach Rose points out we could also do a historic building needs repairs and updates, but doesn't have the funding to, so it's been like condemned essentially.
Oh, yeah, if it's a lighthouse, that would make a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
But
And then the billionaires just bought it.
Or like you fund the not you, whoever the billionaire is, could fund a historical society.
Yeah, I like that. Historical building.
Mark it down, whoever is the person I assigned to be the scribe.
The screw daddy?
That would be me.
The screw
Yes,
daddy.
thank you. Okay, so now that you know what it looks like, you can form your node. Now, two things that should be said. One, your node is very powerful, but it doesn't have to translate into size. The power of a wellspring is not necessarily indicative of the space it contains. Could be as big as a grove in a woods to just a fountain that the water is especially pure at for some reason. However, remember that this is a cult crossover, meaning that a node weakens the gauntlet between worlds. So all that weird stuff we talked about in the first session, doors that go into the inferno, monsters appearing out of nowhere, that kind of stuff probably happens around your property. Doesn't necessarily affect you, but it does affect what people think about people who live in that weird ass building.
An old abandoned well
Well, I mean,
in the basement.
if it's a lighthouse,
thought
like
of-
what
I had
about like
similar
the
thoughts.
light part?
The light itself.
was thinking
was my
that.
Big
first
lamp.
thought too.
Oh, that's,
Oh,
yeah,
like-
that would make sense.
even though it's broken and shit, it still lights no matter what, even if it is
The
run down.
lighthouse.
I mean,
For the
that's
audience-
also like, despite being
Go ahead.
obsolete,
Oh, go ahead.
oh no, just lighthouses are obsolete technology. Every lighthouse is
Oh.
considered U.S. Navy surplus because we got like
for the
radar
au-
and GPS now.
For the audience, they have node 5 as a group node. All the way up. So if you're going to use the lighthouse light, we'll actually say anytime you tap into it, you also have to turn it on, and it's not normal light color. Which would be fun for later when people start noticing.
Sure.
You're all welcome.
It's a
Purple.
weird color. It's kind of purplish, but not really. And
It's a color you
so
can't
beautiful.
describe, Eric. It's almost like a color out of space? I don't know.
I was gonna say octarine.
you can taste it sometimes.
The alpacas are fine. Okay. You also have retainers at 3 dots. Meaning you have staff. Some of it is mundane staff, but they're still hedge practitioners, people that do mundane unawakened magic, that you have to at least train in some aspect at some times. In other words, at least one of you every downtime has to spend time with the retainers to maintain their services. They don't want you to pay them money. They want you to teach them magic. They don't truly understand what awakening is, they just know that you're better at it than them.
Oh man. Okay.
So our
Uh,
mundane retainers should definitely be interns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, students make sense.
Student,
Or like, yeah, I would say students of some sort.
working for college credit.
Uh-huh.
They take care of the mundane, boring things no one wants to deal with in their role-playing game, like cooking and cleaning.
We just have a bunch of like seniors doing their work experience classes.
I mean, and like the ones we like the best can be our elevated servants.
Mm-hmm.
The ones we teach secrets to.
Oh yeah, and you each have one specific retainer that gravitates towards you mostly for role-playing fluff. There's one kid that wants to enter the seminary. There's one super deluxe
Or
hippie.
soul.
There's one super deluxe hippie for Jared. There's that goth. There's that extra goth kid, like rave goth. It's pretty cool. That hangs around with Rachel's character. There's that one kid that Steve's character saved from a gang that's teaching how to fight.
That Arkham gang.
Look,
Do
man.
they run around doing wicked things?
Their gang colors are indescribable.
Oh my god.
And then forever, there's this one kid who can't figure out if he's a Satanist or if he wants to do high ritual magic. He's gonna figure it out one day. At the same time, Ever's character figures out if Ever is good or evil.
I also forget that my retainer exists, so I'm kind of an ass. Oh shit, where'd you come from?
I should
damn it.
I should specify
Who are you
an
again?
actual Satanist, not a caricature Satanist.
Right.
A Levian.
I feel like Sophie and Gabriel engage in like a little bit of friendly rivalry. I'm like, yeah, you should be Satanist. Come here.
No, I'm good.
No, to your pet retainer.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Also,
That's
our
totally
pet
fine.
retainers, do we name them and all that
Are
good
you
shit?
asking if we can name our pets? Like,
Yeah,
what's
I wanna name
happening
my
right
Don't name them, Jared. Then you'll want to
No.
keep them. Don't name them.
You don't get to invent anything about them except their gender or lack thereof. You can send me that before next week, and I'll give you details on them next week.
Okay.
You can specify gender or lack thereof. All the rest I will make it up.
Surprise me.
You can say that too, yes.
Whew.
Okay.
Also, you have 6 dots in library, which means 2 stories of your house is the library. It's a big, massive, spanning room that goes up 2 stories.
Maybe in the lighthouse, you just got bookshelves like swirling all the way up.
Yeah, you could do that. It's actually kind of a cool idea.
That sounds amazing.
Up to the node.
A book spiral. That'd be cool.
You have a 2-dot group familiar. What that basically means is the familiar only can do things for you in the chantry. It doesn't leave.
So I have a thing. I have an idea thing. So
Yeah?
like the closer up to the node we get, the more the books move themselves around, so they're never in the proper order.
I love it.
Way to just increase our library difficulty.
Sure, I was gonna say sure. +1 to all DCs to use it. I'm for it.
It makes sense. I mean, don't murder me. In my
Or
sleep,
we can use it as a punishment in case our interns like to be a little dicey and
Go organize.
go organize the library.
That's how we haze them.
Your 2-dot familiar
I like what
is a
Zach Rules
strangely
just said.
talkative, but
So I like what Zach Rules said. Sentient Roomba.
I'm okay with this.
I would do
It's
that.
a spy for the technocracy.
I was gonna say I would do that if any of you were technological and if we were using the technocracy, which we're not.
Oh god, the technocracy tries to infiltrate chantries with Roombas.
Hey, do it
There
with
was 75 meetings to prepare for this plan.
Your chantry familiar is sort of technological, though. It is a surprisingly talkative TRS-80 in one of the rooms that was left there in 1984.
That's a
TRS-80?
calculator.
TRS-80 was one of the first publicly available, reasonably priced desktop computers. It's a calculator.
Welcome, user.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
However,
Steve, we got to give him a body.
Yeah.
And Eric, we got to give him a soul.
However, Rachel's character is very good at crafts and figured out how to wire that shit into the internet so it can actually help you with virtual weapons, since none of you are good at that. That's why I made it that.
Wait, no, that's how you get Ultron.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Just make sure that you restrict, like Reddit and 4chan, so that it can't go.
Well, no, it goes on Wall Street Bets, which is how I'm so rich.
Oh, so you're the billionaire.
The counseling couch. The answer to your question is, if they take any rechargeable device to the node and place it in the light, it recharges the device with TAS. So they have to hold the device to absorb the TAS into their own pattern.
Could you repeat that sentence, because I understood the English, but my brain did not.
One of the viewers was asking what physical form the node's quintessence takes. You take anything that can be recharged up there, you put the thing in the light, it recharges the thing, and if you're holding that thing, you can pull that charge out as quintessence into your body. Your cell phone, a flashlight, a power drill, it doesn't matter. If it's rechargeable, you can fill it with the TAS and carry it around.
I'm going to ask, I think the question I'm assuming Eric has, what the hell is TAS?
Quintessence is physical, that you can carry.
Got it. And so...
You can also absorb the quintessence into your patterns by just standing in the light.
Okay, so that's how
when you say TAS, you actually mean enchantment, right?
TAS is the word for this game.
Magic? Okay.
Whenever magical energy takes a physical form, it's called TAS.
Okay.
Counseling Couch says we have to connect him to Alexa or a Google Nest and have boxes throughout the lighthouse.
I mean, that is definitely how the technocracy finds you.
Yes.
That is how the TRS-80 talks to you in every room, though, yes. You have a network of Google devices or Amazon devices.
Oh my gosh.
I do not want to talk to you right now, Alexa.
The technocracy is not going to get us. Jeff Bezos is.
Yeah.
I should point that out for the audience, too. This game is entirely focused on the mythos and cult cosmology. There will be no technarchs, no cyborgs, sorry. Not this time. We have a live play of that if you want to check it out, though. So many cyborgs died in that live play.
How many people, period, died? Yes.
Wait, so that means Jeff Bezos is defending, not technocracy.
Nailed it.
Well, one thing at a time, Rachel. One thing at a time. We're not there yet.
No, they still exist in the world. You're not going to interact with them. Jeff Bezos is definitely in the syndicate. Or controlled by them, one of the two.
Bezos' syndicate right there from Zach Rules, yes.
You also have 3 dots of group resources, which is only in the form of, almost like a corporate credit card. You all have a card with a set limit you can use to buy things when necessary. But at 3 dots, it's not like a piece of black. One of you already has that, or I mean American Express Black. One of you already has that anyways.
Hypothetically, what would our daily group, chancery allowance be?
Each of your cards has a credit limit of $5,000 before you max it out on any singular purchase. But yeah, daily limit to keep safe within the dots themselves, we would do close to the actual mechanics, which is essentially, I think, the same amount of money that someone making around 60 grand a year would have to spend.
Gotcha. Okay.
But as a group fund. As if it was divided into allowances. Hold on, I'll get you the actual answer. Resources, where are you? Backgrounds, here we are. I went to the A's, instead of the R's, because I'm a smart person.
Sorry, I was just...
Oh no, that's an important question. Okay, resources. Yeah, middle class. You can maintain a 1-dot standard of living indefinitely. A 1-dot standard of living is a small apartment, cheap vehicle. So in other words, it pays for all of the bills of the building itself.
Mm-hmm.
You all probably have a shared vehicle, and you probably all have very small individual vehicles. I would allow that. Like, very small, not sporty individual vehicles if you want to use your group resources to buy them. Mopeds, motorcycles, small compact car, that kind of thing. And you probably have like an SUV to share.
Okay.
And you can keep the internet on and food.
I'd have a cheap-ass dirt bike, I'm gonna be honest.
Go watch movies when you want, because in this world there's no COVID, so...
Gotcha.
Yay!
Okay.
That are your shared backgrounds. So... Now, figure out, and I'll help you as necessary, but you need to figure out how long you have been a Cabal. Now, the reason you're a Cabal we mentioned, like 3 weeks ago, so I'm sure you've forgotten, but you actually exist as a group put together by the Council of 9 Traditions, 10 Traditions, because we're saying, for the purposes of our world, the Hollow Ones have joined the Traditions for now.
Take when we did that.
You exist specifically to investigate and resolve strange occurrences, Mulder and Scully style, except you have a specialty as a group with forbidden and fallen magics. Black magic, left-hand path. And you even all have some very basic rudimentary knowledge of the Navandi and Marauders. For one reason or another, you've all ran into them in your past. That's why you were put together as a team. Jared, Black Spiral Dancer, and his family Stain. Eric's Wittersley auntie. Ever's character is part demon, basically. Rachel stole something from the power source that fuels you is tainted.
Yeah, I figured like my character was like, yeah, fuck the divine. Let's rebel against everything. And someone was like, really? You serious? And it's just, oh, no, that's bad. I don't want to do it that way.
Everything but that last thing.
Yeah.
We don't know if I'm part demon. We don't know. We don't know.
The Council of 10 Traditions thinks you are.
Ouch.
I mean, at the very
Okay, I'm putting in a
least,
good
you
word
could
for
get
you,
into
Gabe.
the really good demon clubs.
They actually think, and you don't have to believe this, but they think you're actually a legit Nephilim, meaning a fallen angel had sex with a human and you were born.
Well, that's just rude.
And then Steve's character, of course, his former master had fallen to the dark side, should we say. Of course, people don't know that. People just think Steve was trained by his master specifically to battle a dark side sect. They don't know how close he really came to the dark side. They just think you're the only surviving advanced student of a sect that was very good at fighting
Right.
Twisted Akashics. So, how long you've been here? Let's figure that out first. It's a minimum of 6 months because you've integrated into the town. Maximum of a decade.
Would be years,
I
I
al-
would say, at least 5.
I always keep time nebulous, but it is this decade. Sometime in this decade, early in it. And of course, in my games, it's basically perpetually fall, sometimes winter. There's never summer. Summer's falls.
I think, you know,
I've been here since last Halloween then.
okay.
Say I've been here for around a year and a half.
Probably
Well,
for as
no.
long as Gabriel has.
You've all been here the
Let's
exact
just
same
leave it
amount of
over
time.
here.
Yeah, we're finding
You-
out. We're finding
yeah.
out how long we've been a group.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like the year and a half, 2 years time frame.
Okay. Means you know each other pretty well.
Means we know each other
Hey.
too well, but we don't. You know, you still find out a lot of stuff about people after knowing
Yeah.
them for a year or two. Like,
Yeah,
There's
but
still
you're
room to
used
grow.
each other's habits and whatnot, so yeah.
yeah,
I kind of like the year or maybe just coming on a year, because just in role-playing games in general, I like, since we're still discovering how we play our characters, it makes it a little easier in a group dynamic to figure each other out as well.
I agree with that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
like a year.
So, we'll soon to be having our 1 year anniversary. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
You good with that, Eric?
Sure.
Sold.
I was just gonna say,
Can it be on a Friday the 13th?
Yes.
Yes!
Suspiciously a lot of them in this game world. More than you'd think there would be. So, that's how long you've been here in the Chantry. So that also means that's how long your retainers have known you. So the next question is, which of you is the anchor?
By which you
The
mean...
what?
The reason you're in Arkham in this building. Who's the person that either you have old family here, or we all know it's you, Steve. In your case, you're the one who bought the property.
What do you all know it's me? What?
The native, I guess?
No, I'm
area?
I'm from California.
That makes so much sense.
No, when I say we all know it's you, Steve, Eric, I mean the fact that he tries to tell you he's poor, but that pretentious jerk shirt he's wearing is like a $500 t-shirt. And every time he wears it, he throws it away and buys a new one.
I wouldn't necessarily. It's probably not me because I went from place to place.
I feel like it's either Rachel's character or Eric's character.
That is who I would have chosen if I was asked to pick.
Yeah.
Rachel's
Okay,
because...
background-wise,
so-
Huh?
What'd you say, Eric?
My character's from South America, so he's
You are.
the outsider here. Yeah.
Well, no, you are from South America, but remember, this town is like 50% white, 50% minority, so it's very easy for you to have family that migrated here a long time ago, and maybe you just joined them. But also, it could just be you were assigned to the church here. You're not a native.
That's what I was kind of originally thinking, yeah.
I did sort of establish in my backstory that I was the daughter of, very well-to-do suburbanites who could very easily be Boston Brahmin.
So yeah, in that case, we could use you. Either way, you're going to be obviously a preacher at this church, Eric, because it's the big one in the area. But
Excellent.
So your family is actually Arkhamites then, Rachel. We can flesh that out as we go along, but if you have ideas, feel free to toss them in between sessions.
Wow.
I kind of...
ropes there.
Also, it definitely makes you even more the face because you're the only one that the town would respect and you have to deal with bureaucracy.
Even though
As the establishment.
Even though you're the town weirdo,
Town weirdo? What do you mean? Everyone loves Rachel's character. She's super well-respected, conservative, mature.
I mean, I was gonna say that
Mind
I invest a
magic.
lot. Okay, yeah, that also works. And I invest a lot into local culture with, open mic nights and goth nights and, movie nights at the cemetery.
And Rachel is loaded.
Also the fact that you're a Hollow One and I guess the Hollow Ones just joined, basically?
No.
No? Okay.
They're the newest tradition, but it's not recent. It's older than your lifetime.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say,
happened
maybe we all kind of want to keep an eye on her.
I still think it was
late.
I
It
openly
happened
think
in
it
the
was a
late
mistake.
70s.
I openly
yeah.
think it was a mistake. So
It would have been like if you were. It would be like hating your parents for a political choice. It totally makes sense. You wouldn't like it because it happened in the late 70s.
yeah, okay. That's
I
cool.
like this so far. You do midnight poetry readings at the cemetery, not just movie night at the cemetery. It's great.
Every
We-
once in
we
a while, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, we actually have that out here.
That's amazing.
It's movie night at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Watch a movie. The actors are over there.
Oh my
Music from
gosh.
The
Wow.
mausoleum.
Yeah, I know.
Music nights, like
Wow.
indie bands, music at the mausoleum.
If we all pool our magic together, we can actually make a movie with like the dead bodies and shit.
Totally kosher.
I'm gonna go.
And in right there.
Every once in a while, Jose will approach Sophie and say, I'm getting a lot of phone calls daily asking to retire this idea of the midnight cinema at the local graveyard.
We know where the teenagers are. They're right over there. They're not getting into trouble.
Yeah. What can they possibly do in a graveyard?
Exactly.
Everyone's already dead, so.
As Cult of Ecstasy, I would like to point out that you can easily do drugs in a graveyard. Would not know that by experience.
Oh, I'm sure that's full of like weed and like illegal beer, but whatever. They're teenagers. Who cares?
Illegal weed and underage smoking. Yeah.
Except, it's not. You're in Massachusetts. Recreational marijuana is illegal, boys and girls.
I like this state.
I don't actually know if it is in Massachusetts in real life, but it is in this world.
I mean, I still think you're not allowed.
Because
if
it
you're
is where I
teenager.
live, so. You gotta be 18 in my state, that's true. 21 in Colorado, I think.
I assume they're referring to the out in public at gatherings and.
Very easy for the kids to get without having needing a dealer, though.
There you go.
And it's just
I'm
they're
gonna
just
borrow a
sharing.
splip. Sure, here you go.
They're just sharing their gummy bears with each other.
Please, the marijuana is not a problem. The problem is that, Miss Agnes, reported as having something spray painted on her husband's headstone that reads, "These nuts." I don't understand.
It's a cashew advertisement. Don't worry about it. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay,
Nevertheless, this is a problem.
so before you launch into your opening scene, which we still have time for, yay, you gotta pick your starter mission as the players, not as the characters. I give you two choices to begin your story. Nothing in Nowhere or Kill the Lights. Nothing in Nowhere is, there's an abandoned house in town where up until now was just a normal house, but now all of a sudden out of the blue it's a vortex of magical power, and quintessence is being pulled from everywhere nearby into the house where it disappears and is destroyed. Kill the Lights, there's a spree of killings in the town locally. The cops are calling it possibly a new serial killer, but also gang related or otherwise mafia related. Mafia does leak here from Boston. It's a waterway. There's a lot of docks here. There's a lot of easy to smuggle areas.
Guys, we
But no
need
matter
to
where it comes
address
from.
this gang problem that's happening in Arkham. This has come up multiple times now.
Now, why do you guys care about that? Because nobody can figure out how the people are being killed. Like, they're completely alone. No signs of. It's not a locked room mystery where the person's just dead. It's no one came near them in the first place. Like, they're completely alone and they just die, or they're even with people and they die. It's almost like something invisible is killing them. Or intangible.
Interesting.
I vote
That
for
sounds-
the
Yeah?
I vote for the
Kill the Lights.
to kill the lights.
Okay. So,
I
what you
just have
know.
one question.
Yeah.
Hey, who turned out the lights?
So, what you know is there's been 3 murders in the killings, in the spree. 3 killings in the spree. They all happen in out-of-the-way places and or at night if they're not in out-of-the-way places. The connection that's being released in public is just a lot of theories, and you'll love this, Steve, for your character, a lot of conspiracies about their connections.
There it
Police have not actually listed any connections publicly. Just people have died. We'll release names after we deal with the family, the usual nonsense.
Okay.
You as a group don't know anything about it beyond that, except that you know this is kind of your thing when like people are mysteriously being killed in out of the way shadowy places or at night.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like your thing.
Right.
Also, before you ask, it's not involve draining blood. The result of death is strangulation and asphyxiation every one of the 3 times.
Guys, I figured it out.
So they just get force choked?
Could be.
Figured
So-
it out. It's Mummy.
In your opening scene, you can say that you're up for breakfast. It's bright and early 10 a.m. I don't think any of you are probably early risers, except maybe Eric's character. And
I'm sleeping in.
there's a dozen of large marches on the table, which means it's 14 donuts, and you're having breakfast discussing the new case. Begin!
Breakfast. Oh, God.
I forego the.
I should have had that last beer. Oh.
Wait,
Buenos
hold on.
dias.
Audience needs to hear the traditional intro before I forget, 'cause I'm a smart person.
Oh.
Oh.
So starting with Steve. Tell us what you look like.
Drake looks like a Southern California dude, bro. Pretty long, sun-washed hair, blonde
I
hair.
resemble that remark.
Yeah, he's probably in his early 30s, but very, very physically fit. Like just over 6 feet tall. Cut, shredded. Hands though have obvious issue. Like you can see when he doesn't have his wrap on at all. Like you can see like the knuckles have those growths on them from just punching things so often. But other than that, no. Just a very fit Southern California blonde dude.
Ever.
Oh boy. Okay. Have the image, working it into words.
Before you go, where's a lot of Affliction t-shirts over here? But I can't afford one, so I'm not wearing one.
Show the audience what
Show
you're
them what
wearing.
you are wearing, though.
I was able to find this stupid thing. The 5-knuckle bullet.
Yeah.
That's a
All
mix.
right. Yeah. All right, Ever.
Yes. He hated buying that shirt, just to let you know.
Hated it.
The DM basically had to the storyteller basically had to buy him off, basically. Just buy it and I'll give you extra spheres or whatever.
No one will judge your Amazon history.
He's been getting Affliction t-shirt advertisements ever since.
I have.
Oh, just wait.
It's
When I
bad.
bought my cosplay, Trudy was definitely asking me some questions.
That's amazing. Oh god. No, thrift store finds for me, which kind of fits my character, in a homemade collar chain, which is fun. It was easy peasy. Anyway, these sunglasses are definitely canon. Especially after a long night of drinking way too much and probably doing too many drugs. We won't specify which ones. The khaki shirt's kind of his thing. He looks mostly white. Like he's got kind of a darker tinge and tans pretty easy. That's because he does have some Latino background. Just throwing it out there in honor of my stepmom. Peruvian in specific. So, kind of like crazy hair. I mean, pretty much just me, but taller, more muscular, and kind of like gangly a little bit. Wears some worn out jeans and combat boots kind of situation. One earring, which is a sun, because the sun is, cycles, time, etc. Yes, I picked everything specifically for a reason. If you can figure out why, then bonus points to you.
Extra points.
Yes, exactly. So, it doesn't look like much of a fighter. It looks more like an eccentric science major, but is actually kind of a gym rat and likes to pick fights and mostly exists just to protect the pastor. Priest. Padre. Lo siento.
And for those who didn't catch Session 0, Gabriel also can manifest shadow wings with a glowing aura and radiance about his face and eyes. It looks a lot like the angels do in Supernatural when they manifest wings. Gabriel can fly in those forms.
Yeah, about that.
Is actually Nephilim.
I rude. No. I actually paid for my spare sphere of spirit. By every time I use it, I cannot control the manifestation of those wings. So, good times.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's one other thing we should mention to any audience members. We're not here for Session 0. After this, probably won't come up much, but we're not using the traditional vulgar versus coincidental magic metric. In my experience doing mage for many years, that really bogs things down. People are like, is it vulgar, is it coincidental? So instead, we're using an alternative system proposed by Phil Percato that is subtle, uncanny, and extreme. It's more the effect itself and not how it affects the people around it. Same exact mechanics for how the dice rolls are affected, but a subtle spell, small and easy and fits with normal reality. An uncanny spell pushes the boundaries and is a little harder but can still fit. An extreme is obviously not normal. It doesn't matter how many sleepers see it happen. Reality pushes back either way. When they accrue paradox in this game, there is no... It will accrue to 15 points. At 15 points, it will backlash. There's no random backlashes between. However, each step along the way, every 3 points, at 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15, they gain dots of temporary resonance that makes the world react around them, making it very hard for them to be subtle about anything. It starts with subtle resonance and ends up with, like, flowers wilt, the temperature drops, and spirits scream at Jared when he got 15 points of paradox before it discharges. So that's how it works in this game. Eric, tell us about Jose Vega.
I kind of imagine him as a younger Benicio del Toro, like in the traditional priestly garb. Not overly fit, like he may have the frame for it, but he's physically not that strong. He just kind of typically wears the vestments, maybe with some jeans. Very poor. He doesn't have a lot of stuff. So he took that vow of poverty very seriously. And he mostly just keeps to himself. That's mainly what he looks like.
Short and sweet. All right, Sophie.
Yeah, Sophie looks pretty much like this, like goth makeup, goth hair. Like it's early in the morning and she's already got on the black lipstick, the dark eyeshadow. She probably got a contact high from Gabriel last night. Yeah, or like at least like Gabriel was doing a whole bunch of drugs and she's like, "Can I have like a little? Not as much as that. That'll kill me, but just like that much."
Hey, you want to join me? I was just hopping off of the top of the lighthouse while high, and then at the very end, popping the wings out. Could be fun.
That's a cool trick.
Some good Molly.
Yeah, and she's got her tattoos, which are probably different than the last time you saw the tattoos. And she has a coyote wearing a stupid little service dog vest. Like, not that service dog vests are stupid, but this one that her coyote is wearing is. She's like, "Oh no, it's a husky," but anyone can clearly see it's a coyote.
Australian cattle dog is a good lie about that.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. She's just like, "Oh no, it's just a mix. It's a blue heeler mix." It is quite obviously a coyote. Its name is Focia.
And last but not least, Leo.
I am playing Leo. He's definitely a bigger dude. He's also taller. He usually wears some kind of feathers on his neck all the time with like his charm right here. It's kind of like his lucky charm. I'd say he's a little bit more of his keepsake. Definitely the biggest thing he likes to do is probably go out and survive in the woods for a couple days. There's times where you'd go out, you'd most likely tell everybody where, I wouldn't say where he's going, but he's like, I'm just gonna go out, I'll be back in a couple days, and he goes out. Another big thing is when he goes out there, he kind of does these like seance rituals, so he always has some sort of weed, tobacco, something to get him high, to kind of get him more in tune with the spirit world and shit.
Sure.
Other than that, he has like a very stern face, and he kind of has like some major resting bitch.
Oh.
Where he looks like he's mad all the time. He's like,
We're all such burnouts. It's great.
yeah.
I was literally gonna say, like, we just got a lot of
I
drug users in this group. Padre,
That's
man,
all
are you okay with all of this?
Oh, another thing. His preferred way is a pipe of using tobacco. So if he's stressed out, takes out the pipe. Right there. Straight pipe, weed, whatever. He doesn't care.
Father Vega's probably okay with this, since many cultures around the world use drugs to get closer to God. Who's he to object?
Right. Now, because we're coming right up on time, we will actually start your investigation next week. But we will start while you're all sitting around eating donuts, talking about jumping off the lighthouse, when one of your retainers comes in. Specifically, Sophie's retainer. Looking all pale and serious, whispers something in Sophie's ear. Tells you it's been another killing. This time it's one of your cousins.
Oh.
I get it all.
Bro.
Good feelings about that.
Well.
Condolences to whoever's cousin that was.
And that is where we will pick up next week when we actually launch into your investigation.
All right.
I will like it.
Okay.
So, well, dear seekers, we heard the screams from the cellar. The hidden stairs alert to take us to Inferno. We smelled the blood and burnt flesh from those sacrificed to the long-forgotten gods. We saw glimpses from beyond the veil, but now we must return to fitful slumber until next week, when we will once again venture into Nehemoth, Book 1 of White Walls. We thank you for journeying with us and hope to see you again next week, if you haven't already. And if you have already, thank you, you're awesome. Don't forget to click follow here on Twitch, or on the podcast you might be listening to, and on YouTube, hit subscribe and hit the bell. We appreciate you all very much. Special thanks tonight to our Patreons, especially Dave, Don Arnetto, and Funky Thunder. You guys are the best. Thanks to all our Twitch subscribers as well. You help make our quality better, our cosplay sharper, and help us feed a strangely large amount of cats and dogs between all our cast. Thanks also to Helmgast, Onyx Path Publishing, White Wolf, and Motivius for the awesome games we use in this story, as well as Dark Somnium Music, Darren Curtis Music, Savic Music, and Helmgast, the Divinity Original Sin soundtrack. Many of the tunes and beats, including this one you're hearing in this episode. Awaken Seekers of Enlightenment. Tell us who you are, who you played tonight. The next time they can find you on Vorpal Tales, and not on Vorpal Tales. Doing cool stuff.
Hello, everybody. I'm Steve. You can find me on the internet at Voodoo Arcade. And the next time you will see me is tomorrow. Monday is Cyberpunk Red, run by the amazing Eric, who is on the screen with me. I'll be there.
Excitement. I am so much anticipation because thought we were gonna get to story tonight, but dang it. So much anticipation. Anyway, God, I feel like I'm in Rocky Horror Picture Show. Fuck. Anyway, so hey everybody, I am hopped up on coffee right now, and I will be playing Gabriel Hargrave Time Lord. No, wait. Time Machine. No, wait. I'll figure it out. Anyway, you can find me also on Etsy. Neat and co-designs, as in ever. Those are really neat glasses. Where'd you get them? The thrift store, obviously. Because no one would buy these brand new in their right mind. Anyhow, you can also find me.
I'm gonna blow your mind. Someone did for it to get to the thrift store.
I'm just gonna say those are awesome sunglasses and I want them.
They are. I was just being sassy. I'm sorry.
No, those are so cool.
You can find me, thank you, tomorrow evening. What time and space is it? He lied that I'll be able to tell the time. God, tomorrow's Monday. I'll be playing Cyberpunk. Hell yeah. Cyberpunk. Whew. And pretty much all week except for Wednesdays and Saturdays.
America, you can find me online at Maroon Recluse at Twitter, and I'll be here running Cyberpunk Red tomorrow night.
Hello, my name is Rachel. I am Stolen Fire pretty much everywhere. You will see me most in the near future. I'm gonna be back here on Tuesday playing Scion Dragon. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Lots of spycraft. I can't wait. You can also find me Thursday night at the Onyx Path channel at 9:30 Eastern. I'm running Changeling the Dreaming Chronicle. My players picked a fight with the Technocracy in Victorian London, and then they blew up Sotheby's. And they have one of the immortal eyes. So
Lots of development from the last time.
That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Wow, your story just like ramps it up every time you tell us about it. Like, holy...
I blame Harry, like, so much.
Wise.
Oh, yeah, our group blew up a building. Oh, you stole ancient relic this time. Wow.
I mean, in all fairness, they were meant to get the immortal eye.
Okay.
They just decided to pick a fight with the Technocracy along the way.
Like you do.
Why wouldn't
Yeah.
you hate those guys? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's me. I'm done.
Oh. My name is Jared. You can find me at The Real Life Jared on Twitter and on Twitch here. You can find me usually every Sunday, playing video games in the morning and doing this game right here. Maybe one day I'll do something else, but for right now, that's what I have. So.
Is correct. Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Bacon and Survival. Playing Ark. Just finished Conan Exiles. All right. And now for Ride or Die viewers, it's vote time. Audience, you can vote for any one player each session. The player who receives your vote gains a bonus willpower point to spend without needing to spend the willpower point in any future session. You have from now until the end of our reel to vote. We'll tally them before the next session. Players, your votes are good for 1 point of restored quintessence, or 1 point of restored awareness, or 1 point of restored stability. On any session that closes a book, or an arc of the Chronicle, you get XP from the vote, straight up 1 point each. Steve, begin. Who and why?
Jeez, I don't know what to vote for, honestly.
Dude.
Who's the funniest one?
You know what? Actually, I am gonna vote for Jared for doing everything that he could to get here and getting to spend the last hour with us. I appreciate you making it.
I really did try.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy this a lot. So.
Don't forget to mark your points because I won't remember.
Put
Ever,
them
who
in
and
the
why?
notes.
Oh,
man.
awesome.
It's kind of hard because we didn't really have much roleplay going on, but jeez, crud.
Give it to Jared.
My horns are awesome, that's why.
I mean,
Aw, Hot
you're
Dog
not
Wizard gave it to me
wrong.
for being drug-free.
Oof. I'm.
Thank you.
Well, just because someone told me to, I'm gonna give it to someone I wasn't told to. I'm gonna give it to Rachel for being my drug buddy. So there.
Thank you.
Eric.
I was gonna give it to Jared, but I wanted to spread the love some more. I'll give it to Steve for the shirt.
Shirt's worth a vote.
Thank you.
Rachel.
I will vote for Eric because I foresee like a lot of interesting character versus character conflict.
Oh, no doubt.
This is my peace offering that it is not personal.
Oh, it's gonna be fine.
Counseling Couch also votes for Stolen Fire for keeping notes, which is a thankless job, and they thank you.
Yep. We've also
Thank
got a
you
vote
so
for
much.
you, Steve, from the Hot Dog Wizard for being
For
drug-free,
being
and one
drug-free and
for
straight
Eric.
edge. Yeah.
Also,
Don Arnetto for being CrossFit.
Rachel,
Jared, who and
while
what?
you're keeping notes,
Nice.
Oh, thank you.
I should probably keep my own notes. I'm not-
Yeah, well, so I don't know if the counseling couch caught it, but I was given this job based on the fact of my extensive World of Darkness lore, and I was ready to throw down to defend my title. So
All right. So, the second half of this session was all actual play, even though I did most of the talking. You still had to lay out your setting and set up your chantry. Therefore, you get XP this time.
Hey.
It's not a session 0, so you get 1 XP for attendance, 1 XP for being a very good team player, setting up your chantry. And that's it for this session. +2. All right. And now, viewers, we must return you to your restless sleep. But next week, we will be here, same time, same place. Come see us then for our first fully immersed session. Good night.
Do it.